Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is August 26th, 2018. My name's Eric Peters, and joining me today, Mr. Mike Tyson.
Hello, I'm back. It's me. Hello.
Unsubscribe.
1 out of 5 stars. It was shit.
He was loud. You got Mr. Dan Curtis.
Hello.
Unsubscribe.
Oh man, right. The thing is, I listened to one of the older episodes the other day because I finally played Undertale, so I went back to and listened. And the guy who gave me the really negative review, you read out some new reviews on that show, and he'd left you a good one, which means that he hated me so much he came back to leave another review to say that the show was now shit.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
It's all right.
Quit being so loud.
I'm sorry. The show has been much quieter these past few days.
I just after four days after this show, I have severe tinnitus.
Oh, speaking of me being missing, can I just say one thing? Right, don't get me wrong. Zach Forley, fucking amazing time on the show. I really enjoyed that. But Jesus, I thought I was a PR disaster. Someone on the Facebook group said that he offended anyone under 5'4" within the first 2 minutes. Oh, so fucking funny.
And believe it or not, that's the appropriate version of the story.
Oh God!
I don't think we've ever had midgets jacking it and kicking piss into a child's eyes on the same show.
A minority child's eyes.
I wish I'd been here last week, honestly.
God.
That story, after it happened, that is all we talked about for the next 24 hours.
That's the kind of story that Zach is going to tell for the rest of his life, I feel.
It's going to be one of those things where he gets arrested 20 years from now, and they're like, yeah, you see, there's no statute of limitations on kicking piss into a kid's eyes, you know?
I want to meet Zach.
Some guy in the background feeling his way along a ledge going, I'm still can't see.
Damn you, big man shit inside saddle.
I just wanted to watch you have a dump. Is that so bad?
My curious 8-year-old mind had no idea what was going on.
I just need to know after all these years, why were you sitting side saddle?
Hey, you never know, that kid might have ended up with superpowers like Daredevil.
What would his superpower be?
I don't know. Well, Daredevil got, better senses and things like that, didn't he? Expanded senses.
Is that what most people who go blind get? Like, just heightened senses?
That's the word I was looking for, heightened. But yes.
Yeah. Not superpowers.
Turns out Daredevil is just a blind man, that's it.
He's above
been
average.
Lying to us all along.
Little Tyrone was just a normal citizen until one day he got piss kicked in his eyes.
He took a peek under the wrong cubicle.
He saw a man sitting side saddle, and now he can shoot piss from his eyes.
Worst superpower ever.
He has to wear some sort of visor like Cyclops from X-Men.
Just piss spewing everywhere.
Yeah. It's made predominantly of toilet paper. He has to replace it every now and again.
What happens when he gets really old? Like, does he become incontinent and he can't control it? Like, he has to wear pads over his eyes or something?
This year, Tyrone takes on his nemesis, Zach Foley, in the ultimate showdown. Zach has got his wads of piss-soaked toilet paper ready for this showdown.
Oh, rest in peace, Tyrone's eyes.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
Oh, dearie me. How is everyone?
Good. Real
Yeah.
good.
Super.
Fansor.
Thanks for asking.
How are you,
You're
Michael?
welcome. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Just pretty good? Like,
yeah. Well, to kind of give a bit of context of why I've been missing these past few weeks, my mum last minute found out she had to have like open chest heart surgery and part of her heart replaced. So that's why I've been missing. But she's good. She's recovered and everything. So things are pretty good.
Super.
wait,
Yeah.
Good fine.
part of her heart, just like a valve.
Just like a valve
I
replaced.
was gonna say, like, did they just like chop off the bottom ventricle and like, oh, just put a horn in?
Put this, I'm sick of this. I'll put a stapler in instead.
We're just putting appliances in.
Yeah.
I want a deep
Nurse,
fryer in
where
my
does
heart.
this bit go?
And Dan's dad was in the bed next to her having his knee toaster looked at.
Hey, his knee toaster is working seamlessly. Thank you very much. I was over there the other week, and he was just firing bread across the room.
He upgraded from the 2-slot to the 4-slot.
Hey, Tyrone could be his new sidekick.
Ooh.
That's a superhero team I want to see. But yeah, she's...
Toaster knee and PissEyes.
yeah, exactly.
PissEyes. Sounds like a terrible Greek superhero. Hercules and PissEyes.
Why Greek?
It's pronounced PissEyes.
I'm gone.
Oh, it's good to be back, gentlemen. It's good to be back.
Oh, goodness gracious. I think you're right, though. I think Tom reins us in. So when he's not here to just corral the insanity, it just kind of goes off the rails.
I knew it was going to be like this from the Unwrapped, to be honest. By the way, the Unwrapped this week, if you want a lot of prostate talk, we're your men.
Something about signing buttholes and...
Some man with his dick out wandering into Dan's bedroom.
And somebody actually signing Tom's ass.
Because Tom's not here, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Where
like
is that guy?
signing somewhere.
We think he's at another book signing,
Probably usually is.
which got misinterpreted to a butt signing, which therefore led to signing of the butthole by the prostate doctor.
Eric, can you give some context to this whole butt signing debacle? Book signing debacle. Because
I side with butts!
that WhatsApp thread was just hilarious.
Oh, man. So last week, we were giving Tom a bunch of shit for not being able to finish BioShock. The like I said, the one guy who has no job, no family commitment, and just a mountain of free time wasn't going to finish. And then he sends us this picture of him sitting behind a bunch of women at a book signing going, God help me, I'm at a book signing. Like, oh, dear Lord, we'll give this guy a pass. And that was it. He just, from there on out, he's at book signing after book signing. So
He was there so long. Like, Kat had, 3 books to get signed as well.
he sent us a picture. He sent us a message like an hour and a half later, and he's still like, how long does it take for somebody to sign a book? Are they signing every page? But apparently
guy.
at those book signings, they do a dramatic reading of a certain section.
Okay.
If I wrote a book, I'd have just the raunchiest, nastiest sex scene, and that would be the section I would read at all of the book signings.
I'd get Dan to read it out in his Geordie accent. His full-on, boiled owls accent.
You're right there. Welcome to this book signing, like. You want a boiled owl?
That goes well with the book.
Do you want a boiled owl? He's got a pot. It's just this huge cauldron with a cage of owls behind everybody that comes up. He just dunks a live owl in there to boil it and hands it to him with the book.
You want a latte with that?
A what?
For some reason, Geordie's pronounced latte as latte.
Laddie?
No, we don't.
Like you want a little boy with it?
I've heard plenty of northern people say latte instead of latte.
Well, they must be retarded because we don't.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, but hang on, you claim to not be a Geordie. You can't.
I'm not a
say
Geordie.
we. Exactly, you can't say we then.
He just did. I heard it. It's on here.
I heard it as well.
Yeah.
I hope so, because you said it.
Radio silence.
Yeah, see? That's admission
yeah.
of guilt.
That's dead air, that is. That's
Yeah.
dead air.
Sorry, I stopped listening. What?
Ooh. Oh dear. Anyway, back to the original question. I am good. I am enjoying my
Prostate.
no, I'm not enjoying my prostate. I'm enjoying my first ever proper bank holiday, which is now raining outside, which is a typical UK bank holiday.
Wait, why would you have a bank holiday on a Sunday? Like, that's not a holiday.
Well, it's a bank. We have a bank holiday Monday at the end of August, or the last weekend of August.
So
so we have a 3-day
technically the
weekend.
holiday tomorrow?
Yeah, but it's a bank holiday weekend. It's the whole weekend. See? But every job that I've ever had in my adult life, I've always worked over bank holidays, and it's always been busy and whatnot. So
you guys only call them bank holidays because the banks close.
Yeah, and everyone's off work, apart from if you're in hospitality or retail. But I've always, even my last truck driving job, I used to work over the bank holiday weekends. So this is the first ever time I've ever had it off.
We
It's lovely.
just trim the fat and call it a holiday. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
but you're retarded.
holiday weekend. Who cares what the hell the banks are doing?
That's just what it's called. I didn't name it.
Yeah, well, quit conforming.
As ever, Eric blames us for our language. Thank you.
Well, you're the only representatives I have contact with, so fix it.
Well, maybe you should get out more and meet more people.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
We've had a good run. We've had a good run on here. We could be replaced by now, I think.
Yeah, it's too much work.
Finding idiots.
Hiring idiots. Come on in. How dumb can you be?
Sit and converse with me for 5
we
minutes.
seem to attract people like that because Zach managed to prove that he can do a dumb story almost instantly, and Mike got adopted after being a fan. So,
See, I think
no
that's
offense, everyone.
that's what makes us special is that we embrace the inner idiot.
Yes,
And
we
possibly
stand
lead
out
them
from
astray.
we stand out from the crowd
Yes.
by being idiots.
Yes.
Unless they're on the tube and then Dan sits down and wallows in misery.
I can't wait to see what Dan's going to be like in Phoenix. If you thought London was miserable,
You're really, really selling this to us, Eric.
Yeah, you are.
yeah.
But London doesn't have a penis rock, so Phoenix is always winning.
Oh,
Will there be a haboob?
No, it's not monsoon season.
Oh, I want to see a haboob. Mainly
wanna
to
see
tell
haboobs.
everyone that I've seen haboobs.
I don't think there will be Phoenix haboobs. Yeah, those generally hit in August, September time.
Will I see an actual phoenix? And will it resurrect the dead?
Every morning from the south.
I think you'll find that only cured.
Only KO'd?
Yes.
Cured? What, like bacon?
What?
Get it, Dan? Because bacon is cured, and it's also the same word that you use when you heal someone?
No, you've lost me.
I don't think people know that whole "get it, Dan" thing. Like, we never really explained that on the page.
I don't get it. It
Exactly,
came
that's
about.
the point.
It came about 3 years after the joke.
Which is, we take a while to build up our jokes, but man, that joke's got
It wasn't even directed at me. It was you guys being idiots.
I know, but you were so okay. So back it up a step here. As you recall, Tom and I had no idea that Banjo-Tooie was spelled as such because it was the second one in the series.
Because you're fucking idiots.
Very fair point. But Dan went to just extreme lengths to make us feel like complete morons for that. So now, when anything is just an obvious joke, we always reply with "Get it, Dan," and then explain it.
Oh, is that the origins of that? I've just been joining in. I didn't know how it started.
Yeah.
I've just been following the crowd.
Yeah, but this is my point. That was about 50 episodes ago, and this has just came into being in the last month.
Oh,
that is a
this
long
has been
joke.
going on for like, what, 4 or 5 months now?
Yeah, it has been going on a while.
Oh, it's so much fun every single time. It never gets old.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Hey, sorry, we like to find a dead horse and then just beat the hell out of it.
There's nothing left of the horse now.
We're just hitting the ground where the horse used to be.
You totally missed the joke window.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do the very rare comedy feat and go past when it's funny and hope it becomes funny again.
We've been doing that for a long time.
The Family Guy technique.
Yeah, let's just keep doing it till you find it funny a second time. But back to the penis rock. I don't think we told people about this. In Phoenix, there's a rock called Cock Rock, and it looks like a soft little hoo-ha, just laying out there in the middle of the desert.
A massive wang!
Yes, that. And we're going to go straddle it.
Yeah, we are.
That's
If
where
we
we'll
don't get the four of us straddling that at once, it will be a crime.
Yeah, oh man, it's going to be great. We'll have one of the women take the picture.
One of the women. One of the women.
Snap the photo. Make sure you get the whole thing. Yes, even the base.
Try not to get period on it.
God, Mike.
Who says that?
It was like we were being horrible towards women for a moment, so I thought I'd take it.
And there's all of our female listeners gone. Thank you, Mike.
Don't get period.
That's up there with Island of Children's
everyone.
Tears, isn't it?
Don't get period.
Oh, Gamer Grandpa 36 is going to be back, isn't he?
Oh my god.
I think we just need to stop now, to be honest. Good God.
Actual tears. That's such a formal way of saying, be a dear, don't get period on it. Like, there's just so many questions.
Oh, Dan, you know how like Crystal's never really listened to the show?
Yeah.
Like, just isolate that soundbite and say, this is the show.
Daniel, you're not allowed on that show anymore. Oh, Crystal, stop getting period on it.
I don't think I want to live alone, thanks, Mike, but...
You've always got that guy who wanders in the night.
What's his name, Chester?
Did we give him a name? I know he was looking for Agnes.
He's just I don't know who he is, he's just looking for Agnes.
Does he have pants on?
And he's one of the chickens from Stranger's Wrath.
Oh, God.
Have you seen Agnes?
Oh, well, I'm sorry, everyone. Shall we start again?
I actually have something video game related.
Oh, Jesus.
Shit.
Yesterday,
Have you finally found Backdoor Sluts 20?
No, still
Oh, the
working
holy
on-
grail of backdoor sluts.
I know, still working on number 16.
Yeah, you can get a lot of mileage out of that one.
Mm-hmm. Yesterday, I was out and about. I was looking for a copy of Spider-Man for our next show, which is oddly
Spoilers!
hard to find. Unless, which one have we decided we're doing? Because it's always
PS.
jumping back and forth.
The one on PS1.
Okay. Yeah, can't find it anywhere.
I think we chose the one on PS2.
I
we
think
didn't,
you're
Daniel.
wrong. Actually, I know you're wrong.
Mm.
Because whatever
You'll
you
regret-
choose, we're going
you'll
to play
regret
the
it.
opposite. Maybe, but it leaves room for us to then play number 2 and talk about number 2 as how it compares to the first. Make sense?
Also, further to our argument, Daniel.
but you know what?
Further
Like
to the argument, Daniel.
Shut
Doesn't it
up,
make
Mike.
sense? No, doesn't it make sense that the next show I'll have played the new Spider-Man, I don't know about you guys, but we can talk about the first 3D Spider-Man on the PlayStation, the most recent Spider-Man
when
game
does
on
that
PlayStation
Spider-Man
4.
come out?
Michael, but doesn't it make
September
more
7th.
sense to play the game that most people will search for,
Yes, but we can
Spider-Man
then do
2,
Spider-Man 2.
which
We can then do
most people will
Spider-Man 2.
remember fondly when Spider-Man comes out on September
Who's-
the 7th.
Who's fondling Spider-Man?
PissEyes.
Arachnid dude?
Spider-Person.
Spider-Person.
Anyway, September 7th for Spider-Man, Eric. It's 2 days before the next show.
Oh, great. That gives us plenty of time to formulate thought.
Oh, I've already told Hazel she's going to be a Spider Widow that weekend. I said, do not make any plans. I am sitting in my pants and playing Spider-Man all day.
Like dress pants, sweatpants, or underwear?
Underwear.
How about your knickers?
One's knickers.
Ooh. Your pink G-string?
That's the one. No, I'll get the Spider-Man print one out.
It's just made out of webbing.
That's the one.
Yeah, so I was out looking for the original Spider-Man when I went to one of my favorite haunts in the area, and
you always seem to be there.
Well, there's like 5 different stores that I go to. But yeah, when I'm driving by, it's just like a big magnet. I'm like, well, gotta pull in, spend some dollars.
I'm meant to be working. All right, let's get in there.
It's on the way home. Little cartridge caught my eye because there's this case that has like all the Jaguar and the Atari Lynx and the TurboGrafx 64 carts, and then on the top shelf there's this little cartridge. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I look at it, and sure as shit, it is Final Fantasy 1 for the WonderSwan.
WonderSwan.
Now, if you don't know what the WonderSwan is, you're probably in the majority here. It's a handheld console that was released only in Japan. It was made by the same guy.
Oh, it's not a swan with superpowers or anything, no?
No.
Because that would be a good companion for PissEyes.
It's like a large goose that sits and ponders simple concepts.
So is it a swan or a goose?
Well, he likes to call himself a swan, but he's really just a goose.
So it's a deceptive goose.
Yeah.
Is that the wonder of the swan?
No, he's the one wondering why he's not a swan.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. And then there's a color version of it. Anyway, made by the same mind behind the Game Boy. So naturally, it was bound for success. Unfortunately, it fell victim to the Game Boy Advance and just kind of crumbled. So it didn't really gain a whole lot of traction, but what a neat little system. What's that?
16-bit system. I'm just looking at it now. 16-bit system.
I remember reading about this thing when I was a kid and seeing that, oh man, you can have the full Final Fantasy 1 and 2 portable on the go. Like, I want this thing. And then I learned it was Japan only and went, well, I guess I'll never have one of those. But it was always one of those consoles that just kind of was, it piqued my interest in that it's unique. And when Tom was in Japan, I had him look pretty heavily for one, and he found some, but they were all non-working. And then I had another buddy who was in Japan who searched through all the entertainment districts, couldn't find any for me. So I saw this cartridge and went, well, it's $9. I'll just buy it and add it to my collection. I doubt I'll ever see a WonderSwan. And asked the guy there, I'm like, well, I have to ask, you have the cartridge, do you have the console? He's like, well, we sold the console about a month ago. Which was strange because I'm in there quite frequently and never saw it, so stupid me for not being more thorough. But who would buy the console and not one of the most definitive games for it is beyond me. I said, well, how often do you see them? And he goes, well, first one I've ever seen, let me call the other store and see if we have one. So he calls them up, sure as shit they have one. Like, what are the fucking odds that the store 5 miles down the road has one and it works?
So I'm just reading here. The standard WonderSwan, you get 40 hours life out of one AA battery.
It's crazy. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. The color version, you get 20 hours, but still, from one battery, that's mental.
And then they have a...
I'm just looking as well. There's a thing called... This is really strange. There's a thing called the WonderWave accessory, which is an infrared communicator that could transfer data between two WonderSwans. Randomly, it was also compatible with the Pocket Station for the PlayStation.
I remember the Pocket Station.
Yeah, it never came out here, did it?
It was like mini game on Final Fantasy 9 for it.
And 8. There was the Chocobo one on 8.
So I'm going to show you guys.
9.
I'm going to show you guys a picture and show you how deceiving this is here, because here is a picture of Final Fantasy 1 on the WonderSwan. See how great and crisp and vivid that image looks?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, doesn't look like that at all.
I was going to say that image is clearly superimposed.
Oh, clearly. So anyway, they had the WonderSwan, then the WonderSwan Color, and then the WonderSwan Crystal, which
They've spelt color wrong on it though.
actually no, that's the universally global accepted way of spelling it. Like, not an idiot.
What with an X in? What are you talking about?
No wonder Americans are so fat. They spend all that time dropping letters out of words.
Yeah,
Well, exercise they get putting all these extra letters in.
that extra quarter of a calorie making that U in there.
All the American listeners gone.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
So-
Mike, you're on top form today, mate. Shut up already, will you?
You've mentioned about America being fat before, Dad, so shut up.
Yeah, but it's not generally directed towards America. It's just Eric.
Oh.
See, this is where you're going wrong. You don't go for the majority.
I generalize. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you want to read about the WonderSwan, there's actually a really cool article on a website called Racket Boy. They have a WonderSwan 101 article that kind of talks about all the background information and variations and all of that fun stuff. But
Is Racket Boy a tennis-based superhero?
I don't know, maybe. Apparently I'm
This
getting
thing looks really interesting.
Yeah, so the WonderSwan Crystal was like the definitive version of it, where it had an improved LCD screen that increases contrast.
You hear that, Crystal? You're the definitive version. I don't care if you're out.
Note that it was said.
Remember to pick up toilet paper.
Mate, will you get out my house? I told you Agnes isn't here. The fucking idiot.
Okay, so the WonderSwan Crystal it's the same as the color, but it uses a TFT LCD, which gives you better response time, has a better LCD, reduces ghosting, which is one of the bigger issues that I noticed in the games that I was playing. So I bought Final Fantasy
There's a
1.
joke there.
I ghost attacked everywhere when I got this thing. I
You
bought.
say it's the definitive version, Eric, but that only gets 15 hours battery life.
Well, yeah, because it's got a better screen,
Yeah.
better contrast, and reduces ghosting,
Yeah, you said that.
which is the definitive version. Why would you want a screen that ghosts? Like, if you ever play, for example, if you don't know what ghosting is,
What if you've only got one battery?
well, then you should probably be spending your money on other things.
What about if you've spent all your money on a WonderSwan and then you can't afford a battery?
Well, then you're an idiot.
And then you go onto your iTunes and the only song left is Battery by Metallica.
I don't think the WonderSwan runs off Metallica songs.
Oh, okay.
What was I going to say?
It runs off bread thrown to it in the pond.
Go on, Eric. I am listening.
I don't even know where to go with this. It's so derailed at this point.
So, ghosting. You wanted to talk about ghosting.
Oh yeah, so the issue so I bought Final Fantasy 1, a game, something classic, golf classic or championship classic, and then Blue Wing Blitz, which is like a tactical RPG shoot 'em up game with airplanes. It's really odd.
So does it have its own exclusive games, Eric?
It does.
Or is it all ports?
There's no porn on it.
Ports.
Oh. Sorry.
Well, you've lost my interest now, but okay.
Yes, actually, there is. I
Did
believe.
you hear that, Cecil? There's no porn on it. Get out of my house.
I believe there's a Klonoa game that's exclusive to it.
Eric, question. I'm looking at pictures of it now. Why is there like two sort of D-pads?
Okay, so that's actually really cool. One of the games that I bought utilizes that. The console can be played normally, like with the bottom D-pad and then the A and B button like a standard handheld, or you can turn it vertically and use the two D-pads so you've got 4 buttons on the right and then you've got the D-pad on the left, so you can play shoot 'em ups that way. The golf game that I have uses it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really cool little system. Unfortunately, there are 0 English games on it, so Final Fantasy 1 will be quite a chore to get through.
Why in that picture that you've sent, right? Is it all in Japanese and then Gio's name is just
Oh,
spelled
so
in
you
English?
can actually go in when you're naming the characters. They give you the American alphabet too.
They sold 3.5 million units.
Yeah, it was really
That's
popular.
yeah, in production
I've
from
never heard of
99
them.
99
Never heard of a WonderSwan?
Me neither.
No.
Oh man, it's one of those, like, for me it was just this pie in the sky thing that I would never own.
How much did it set you back?
$45.
What?
Yeah,
That's got to be good, right?
yeah, it's great. I'm not too thrilled about the color, and the screen is kind of scratched up, but it works perfectly. The only issue that it has is apparently a pretty common issue where once you turn it on with the power button, you can't turn it off with the power button again. You have to take the battery out, but that's just a loss of contact on the circuit board. So it's just going in, and you can either rewire it or you can use conductive paint, and then it fills in the gap just enough. But it's not really a big issue. It's such a neat little system. The only downside is that, like the original Game Boy Advance, you have to be in an insanely well lit area to see it, and there's no backlit version of it out there.
I'm sure someone's modded one.
See, and I started looking into that, but realistically, not. Like it's not a standard size LCD screen that people have just created. It's a really odd
I wonder if it's emulated. Surely somebody's made an emulator.
Oh yeah, there's WonderSwan emulators. But they had a lot of huge names that were publishing on this. They had Squaresoft, Namco, Bandai releasing huge titles. So
which company is actually behind it?
That's a good question.
Um,
Bandai
yeah.
came out in 1999.
I didn't know they went into the console race.
When did the Game Boy?
It was a collaboration by Bandai and a company called Koto Laboratory.
So the WonderSwan was 2 years before the Game Boy Advance, and that was kind of the nail in the coffin for the WonderSwan, because the Game Boy Advance was just superior in every way.
It had the Game Boy name on it as well, which,
Yeah.
you know.
They had a deal with Squaresoft for versions 1 and 2 to be completely redone with more modern graphical style. Let's see.
Take them about 5 years to do that, judging
was
by how long it takes to do Final Fantasy VII.
There was a web browsing and email add-on, so it's kind of like a little bit of the Nokia N-Gage had that.
So basically, it's a primitive smartphone.
Sure, yeah. It's a neat little thing. It's something that I doubt I'll ever play much of because I don't read kanji.
There's something called the Wonder Coin, which was a coin-shaped disc that can be fitted over one of the 4 directional button clusters of the WonderSwan to create the feel of a single directional pad.
Huh.
It's weird little accessories for this.
The volume is interesting. There are 2 different variations. The variation I have has 3 volume settings where you just tap the button.
Remind me again, which one did you get? Sorry,
The WonderSwan Color.
the color, so the mid-range one.
Yep. So you press the sound button and it either takes it to the first level, second level, or third level. And then I want to say that the WonderSwan Crystal only has 2 settings. And the Crystal does not have the contrast ratio adjust. So like on the original Game Boy where you could adjust the contrast, mine has that. The Crystal I don't believe does.
I suppose if the screen's much better, it wouldn't need it.
Yeah, probably not.
Really?
When the games released, they were apparently $30 to $40 in the late 90s. It's actually quite expensive for a handheld game.
I don't know, because I'm pretty sure that the original Pokemon on the Game Boy over here in the UK, they were $29.99. Sure they were. Because I had Pokemon Blue and then later had Pokemon Gold.
Apparently this console
sure they're $29.99.
was only 4,800 yen when it
What's
released.
that?
About $50.
That's not bad.
No, I think the Game Boy Advance was 100 when it released.
I'm not sure. I never had a Game Boy Advance.
Oh man, yeah, they were $100. I loved my Game Boy Advance. Holy cow, I played the living shit out of that thing.
Well, as none of the listeners will know yet, I am a new resident of Vita.
Woo!
And I've been a bit naughty and got some emulators on there as well. And there's like near enough the entire Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance library on there. So I might catch up on some of those games that I missed. Any recommendations, Eric?
Oh man,
Tony
There are
Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
many. The Final Fantasies on there are obviously fantastic. Tactics Ogre, Knights of Lodi, if you like the tactical RPGs. Minish Cap, gotta play through Minish Cap.
Oh yeah, you guys recommended Minish Cap to me when we played Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Cap
you went on
is,
then. Were you for Minish Cap?
No.
Both Golden Sun games. Castlevania Circle of the Moon. Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. Both of the Advanced Wars games. I personally liked
Sonic
all
Advance.
What's that?
Sonic Advance, they're pretty good.
I haven't played that.
It's pretty
Mario Power Tennis, Mario Golf, Advanced Tour.
Oh yeah, I heard Mario Golf's good in there.
Let's see, what else was there? I liked all the ports of the Super Mario Advance games, like Mario 3, Mario World, and all of that. Those were really good. Let's see.
I mean, I know you were joking when you said Sinner, but you know the main reason I've actually bought this is it's easier for me to play the games for the show whilst I'm at work because I get a lot of time at work sat around doing nothing.
Mike.
So go on.
Harvest Moon: Friends of Mineral Town, hands down one of my favorite GBA games.
Okay, I'll see if it's on there. If not, I can put it on there.
Did you like Stardew Valley?
I've not played it, but I've watched play quite a bit of it.
You would probably really like. It's kind of a simplistic toned down version of it, but man, I dumped a lot of hours into that game.
Oh, Pokemon Emerald and Fire Red and stuff are on there.
Sapphire,
I've already
Ruby.
had a little go on Fire Red. That's probably
Mario
some
Kart
movies.
Super Circuit's actually pretty good.
There's a Metroid game, Metroid Fusion.
All the Fire Emblem games.
I've never touched a Fire Emblem game.
Me either. Like when they're on Smash Brothers, I'm like, who are these people?
Oh, Mike. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
Oh yeah. I did play Part Time on the DS, and I loved that. So.
Yeah. And is Bowser's Inside Story DS, or was that GBA as well?
That's DS.
Okay.
that
Because
was
Mario and
DS,
Luigi
yeah.
Superstar Saga is technically the officially unofficial sequel to Mario RPG.
Yes, yeah, it is. Which is still one I'm yet to get around to as well. I might play that on my SNES Classic one day because it's on there.
Did you miss
have
that
the
one as
authentic
well?
experience.
But I would say
Yeah, I wasn't here for that. It was not long before I joined. You did Mario RPG.
I would say your first stop
It was-
should be Minish Cap, hands down.
Yeah, that was a good time. I liked Minish Cap a lot.
That's one of my favorite Zeldas.
I'm not big on the top-down Zelda styles, but that one was really good.
Only one I played is Link's Awakening, which we did for the show, and I loved that. So
This is very similar to that, but it adds that whole element of the micro world. Did you listen to our Minish Cap show?
no, it's one of the ones I skipped because I didn't want it ruined.
Got it.
Like all of the 160 there, he skipped.
Apparently, the Kirby games on GBA are really good, like the Amazing Mirror. I haven't played any of those, though.
Never get into Kirby games. I don't know
love
what it
Kirby
is.
games.
The
They're so good.
only one is the what's it? Is it Superstar Golf on the SNES? Is it Superstar Golf?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's Kirby Superstar Golf.
What's that? It's not. There's no golf in the title. It's just Kirby.
Anyway, that crazy golf game on there. Yeah, me and Hazel play that on the SNES Classic sometimes. That's good fun.
It's just Kirby Superstar. It's the 8 games in one.
Is it? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
It's just called Kirby Superstar.
Kirby Golf.
Yeah, there's no Kirby Golf.
I'm gonna guess that you're right.
We've played that somewhere. I remember that.
Kirby's Dream Course. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's the name of the game within Kirby Superstar, isn't it?
No, it's a standalone thing called Kirby's Dream Course on the SNES.
So it is.
I'll send you a link.
So also in my pickup of the WonderSwan, so I picked up the Final Fantasy, drove 10 miles across town to pick up the other one, or to pick up the console and a couple more games, and on my way out, they put the damn strategy guide rack right by the door. and I'm a sucker for some strategy guides. And I saw 3 of the collector's editions of the different Zelda games that I didn't have, like those really nice colored hard copy or hardbound books.
Oh yeah, they're nice. They are.
I had to buy all of them. So I got Spirit Tracks, Wind Waker HD, and then I didn't know they did a Majora's Mask 3D collector's guide. So I had to pick that one up. And they're all complete with their maps and all that.
Are they in good condition inside?
Great condition inside. The
Not
outside.
a bad day for you then, collecting.
Oh,
Not
man.
bad at
And
all.
I picked up Lunar 2 on the Saturn. Japanese version, but still.
Lunar.
I have no hope of ever playing. It's an 80-hour RPG purely in Japanese. I have no chance of figuring that shit out.
That's what Google Translate's for.
But so I would say I've purchased a majority of my games in the past few weeks have been all Japanese. So I bought Final Fantasy 1, or I finished out Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Japanese copies. And then all of this crap was Japanese.
Why don't you just hire a translator to sit beside you while you play them?
Or
I'll do it.
I could just not play them.
I mean, that'd be mental, wouldn't it?
I know. And that'd just get right on Dan's tits.
Just a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of like Tom, though, where I like the art style of the Japanese covers. I will admit the international versions sometimes have better artwork than ours. Like the box art for Final Fantasy VI, infinitely better overseas than North America.
I don't think I've seen the North American one.
Oh, it's ugly.
I'm trying to think what it looks like.
Well, it's Final Fantasy III.
Oh, is it the purple one with the Moogle?
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Yeah. See, I quite, don't get me wrong, they can be a bit plain, but I like the whole, what they have over here with the uniformed cases for Final Fantasy. You know, where it's like the white image with it'll say the name and then has like just an image above it.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
15, which they changed.
Oh, did they?
I like the art style that they've
That's it.
started doing for the Final Fantasy remakes, where they have the Yoshitaka Amano art on the cover, like they did for 3 on the DS. His art style is just fantastic.
Oh, the white with the black, you mean?
Yeah, like this right
Yeah,
here.
That's what ours look like. Like I can see Final Fantasy 9 right now. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, but look here, like this one.
Oh, so
right.
they've added the art in the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Oh,
see,
yeah.
our versions would be, imagine the background is just completely white, and it has the name
See,
there with the image.
I don't know if I like that. I really like the Final Fantasy VII cover for North America.
Oh, with Cloud outside.
Oh, it's just, like, to me, that is just definitive. Boom, PlayStation 1 box right there.
What? That's the front cover of the disc box.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that was just an image from the game.
Yeah,
Wow.
This was our cover right here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did you not know that, Dan?
No.
See, I do quite like that one. Don't get me wrong, but
It's really
I just
cool.
like as a series, I liked the uniformed look.
See, and when I was in Missouri at Mo Game Con, I'm kicking myself for not picking up 7, 8, and 9 in Japanese, because then I would have had the full Japanese collection. They were only $15 a piece. I'm like, don't need it.
There's still time.
Guess I'll just have to go back next year.
Hmm.
I think our Final Fantasy.
Maybe don't go to Walmart.
I think our Final Fantasy VIII cover was very similar. No, our Final Fantasy VIII cover was obnoxious. It was big and purple, and it had Rinoa and Squall and Cypher on it with the sorceress in the background. It was annoying.
Yeah, I've got it in front of me now. Hang on.
9's was pretty cool.
That's 8's there.
Yeah,
I've seen 8s before, yeah. Yeah, that's
ugly.
nasty.
I like 9's.
But I really like that. Obviously, the Final Fantasy VIII logo has that kind of image of Squall and Rinoa kind of wrapping around each other, and
Yeah.
I've always loved that.
The Final Fantasy Anthology one is probably one of my favorites, with Terra and the Magitech armor.
That's cool.
It's too bad those games are just trash on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I've been tempted to play Final Fantasy VI, but I've heard the PlayStation like years ago, and I had the PlayStation version. I've heard it's just diabolical.
The only
Apparently, it's
problem is,
really bad on Steam as well. They ported it over to Steam recently, and that and Chrono Trigger were absolutely terrible because they made really daft changes to it. Apparently, I think they fixed Chrono Trigger, but Final Fantasy VI is still really bad.
Well, they uploaded a new version of Chrono that ran really well, but everyone has ended in arms because it's actually a port of the new mobile version.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, if it works, who the fuck cares?
The problem with the Final Fantasy games on PS1 is just the load times when you go into a battle.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
They did a load of like fancy Final Fantasy 7/8 FMVs for it, though, didn't they?
Oh, yes, I remember this when it came out.
Yep.
I remember.
There's Anthology and then Chronicles.
So what does the anthology have in?
Anthology has 6
It's just a case full of ants.
and... Oh, God.
Look at
what
Mike
is it?
breaking out the funnies.
Yeah, I already
So
brought out the cute
Chronicles
joke earlier.
has 4 and Chrono Trigger, which is weird. And 6... and Anthology has 6, maybe 5 and 6? I gotta look. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I really wish they'd bring back Chrono Trigger. I think it could have been its own series like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it wasn't Chrono Cross garbage.
Chrono Cross
Apparently.
was toilet. You're either hot or cold on it. I have one buddy who's like, dude, you got to play this. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I hated it. And for him, it's one of his favorite games of all time.
See, I never finished Chrono Trigger, but I played the DS version, and I really enjoyed it on the DS. And looking online, the general opinion seems to be that in a modern day setting, the DS is actually the definitive way to play it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a DS version of it and can't.
It's interesting that like modern consoles still have like games like that are so hard to find. Like you understand sometimes, well, you understand how older games, you know, some of them get lost and all that jazz. But something as modern as the DS, a game like Chrono Trigger that people are going to jump on, it still seems strange to me that they only make limited copies and you're still struggling to find them.
Well, this is the whole argument about emulating because the big game companies don't make it easy to access their libraries.
Yeah.
PlayStation and Nintendo have a huge library. Even Xbox is getting a big library now because they're on the third console. So it's they'd have the backward compatibility, I guess. But for example, Nintendo, how many things do they have that they could put on Switch?
You know, but
They're
the
not
problem
there.
with that comes in with licensing rights, though. A lot of those companies have either severed their relationships with Nintendo or have gone under, and then who owns the rights to the IP and all of that. So if they're going to be making money off of that, then they obviously have to pass the royalties off.
Yeah. It's a difficult one because, emulation itself, having the ROMs and everything, out and out, it's illegal, you know, to own something that's not yours. But at the same time, keeping these games, keeping the history, if there's no available way for you to get them anyway, I don't see the harm in some ways. You're not, you know, give me a really old game, I don't know. Let's say Chrono Trigger, say it hadn't been remade, say the only way to play that was using a SNES cartridge, okay?
And there are plenty of games that are just like that.
Yeah, so imagine only the SNES cartridge, that's the only way you could possibly play it in the world. If you emulate that, you're not stealing money from Nintendo because they're not making any money from all those second cartridges around. It's not like they're releasing a brand new cartridge for you to give them money.
Yeah.
So these games, you know, end up getting stuck on these cartridges that they're eventually going to deteriorate as well.
Did you hear about apparently Emu Paradise has had to pull all Nintendo ROMs because of legal action?
I think they're pulling all ROMs.
Yeah, they've got rid of all of them.
Oh my god, that website's going to be nothing. Wow.
They're pulling all of them because some of the site was going to be, I can't remember what the exact figure was, but it was in the tens of thousands. Every single ROM that was up there. For each ROM would have been tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I can see why then.
So
So
I'm
they've
just checking
basically
right now to see if they still even have it. They still have stuff up.
No, you click on the link. So I looked at this. You click on the link, you go on it, and then it just says this ROM is not available. When you go to the download links.
Let's see.
So it's all still listed there. You go on it, go to download links. It just says not available.
Oh, yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Ugh. See, I get why. If it's available on a different console or a different avenue to play it, great, do that. But like you said, if you physically cannot play it anywhere else, what's the harm?
If there is no legal means of being able to give Nintendo the money. There's been various people, like personalities and stuff on the internet discussed a way of, does the video game industry need to catch up with like the film industry or the music industry, where you pay a streaming service and you have access to all these games? The music industry has shown years ago everyone was stealing music over Napster and things like that, and people were pirating it. Now that there's a way to pay for music, things like Spotify and Apple Music and things like that, people are going towards them. That again, one fee per month, they're getting them. I mean, you never own it, but
it comes back to, with that, there is typically a single person involved in that song. The artist gets the commission off of it. Maybe if they have a record label, then that, so on. But with games, there's so many fingers in the pot that I don't see how you could realistically do that.
It's some that have got film licenses and stuff, I guess, as well.
So I'm looking, just for my own sense of, I'm looking back through all the games that we've played this year just to see when, like, the last time I actually utilized an emulator for a game was. And I'm already back in November of last year, and I've had the physical copy of every one of these. Spyro is the last one that I emulated. November 21st, 2017.
Yeah, we've not really emulated much this year.
Mainly because Spyro sucks. And I'm not going to buy it. That game got delayed, didn't it?
Yeah, until November, which I don't mind because it doesn't clash with Spider-Man now.
Yeah, it probably makes more sense to do it until then.
So
I want to get your opinion on this.
Going back on that a second, just Spyro, just while it was. So apparently, it was because there's that whole thing about 2 and 3 won't be on the disc. It'll only be number 1 that's actually on the disc. Basically, it was the publisher, I can't remember who's publishing it, who were trying to get them to push it out as quick as possible while doing that. And there's rumors that it being pushed back is actually something to do with them. They may be going back on it and putting them on the disc, which I think is the right call.
It is the right call. Why do publishers do this and push things out when they're not ready? It doesn't work.
Well, part of that is because we as an industry have allowed it to be okay.
But the thing is that there's an issue with preservation there. We've mentioned on this show before about how certain games from the last generation, this generation, they will only work properly once they have a patch. 10, 20 years down the line, you might have that disc, you might have a PS3 or a PS4. That game might be unplayable because you can't patch it, because the servers won't be up with the patches anymore. This is the problem. The thing with emulation as well. Emulation is a fantastic way to preserve that history, and there's been so many games lost to history already.
I'm with you. It's such a touchy subject because I get it. I'm not condoning stealing games. But if you just want to play a game and you have no other avenue to play it,
yeah, who is it harming? If there's no, like I think I've said it 3 times in 3 different ways actually in the past 10 minutes. But if there's no physical way of giving money to the people who quote unquote own that game.
I mean, I'm happy to pay for games, as you've seen. I like to
just
buy
a bit,
games.
Even when you're not playing them.
I enjoy purchasing games. But yeah,
I literally mentioned a few moments ago, I bought a Vita. The main reason I bought a Vita is for emulation, which is mainly for us to do this show. And there are a lot of older games that we wouldn't be able to play without emulation.
Yeah.
Would the show exist without it? I mean, it'd be very hard to get 4 individuals together who all have all of the retro consoles that we play, all with a copy of these retro games.
Yeah, I think it would very, very much limit what we could play.
It gets expensive. Yes.
Yeah.
It gets real expensive. But I don't know. It's stuff that I generally am going to have in my collection anyway. Most of the stuff that we're going to really deem as worthy to play, I already have a copy or have been wanting to get a copy, and I'll just go out and buy it.
Barbie Superstar model.
Hell yeah, I had to break in that new CRT.
Speaking of things you should buy, did anybody actually buy Hollow Knight when I recommended it?
Yes. Did you not see my 7p purchase last night?
Is it still on sale?
Oh, yeah.
Is it still on sale?
I think so. It should be.
It is over £7.50 over here.
God.
My God, that's so cheap.
How much did you pay for it?
About £18.
Ooh.
Hey,
So let me
worth every penny. I'm very happy to say.
let me ask you guys something. I know I threw this out there yesterday, but Zach Foley has become Satan incarnate with me and trying to convince me to buy an Xbox One X because of the ability to play original Xbox games fully upscaled.
Yeah, I mean, I touched on this on our WhatsApp chat. Our WhatsApp chat. If I had the money to own an Xbox One, yeah, I'd probably go for the X because I've got the 4K TV now. I probably would. And it is that back catalogue. I mean, I've never been an Xbox guy. I've never owned an Xbox, never owned an Xbox 360, obviously never had an Xbox One. So there are a few games on there that I've never really touched before. Things like Gears of War, Halo, Fable. I have touched Fable before on someone else's Xbox, but things that I've not played properly. And I mentioned on the show before, in terms of the games might not be there at the moment, but in terms of services, Xbox are killing it at the moment with Game Pass and everything like that.
See, and that's a huge draw for me right now because honestly, if given the choice and it comes out on PS4 or Xbox, I'm going to buy it on PS4. It's just not a question, even if I own the Xbox, just because generally with every generation, I'll pick one console as my go-to console. PS2, I've got damn near 100 PS2 games. PS1, it was that for me. PS3, it was that for I stick through and I like that library with exclusives and all of that, but the Game Pass, man, you get some cool shit on there.
It's so fucking cheap.
It is a good service. I get why you're interested in it, Eric, but I'm opposite of Mike on this one because I PS3 own it, PS4 own it, and I used to be Xbox.
I did too.
I jumped ship to Xbox 360, and then I jumped ship to PS4 this generation, and it's kind of, I don't know. With Xbox One X, there's no killer things to have for it. While there's some things in the back catalogue which may be interesting, like Halo and Fable and stuff, I've got them already. So
yeah.
I'm not really that interested. And it's just, it's a really expensive, yeah, sure, you get that Ultra HD player and stuff. But I know you like to have the newest, shiniest technology and things like that, but isn't this all going to be standard in the next gen anyway, which is coming soon?
I don't know.
The thing is, going back on what I was saying, if I did have the money to own one, and I did own one, it would be old games I'd be playing on it, and that is a pretty expensive console for just playing old games.
Yeah.
So even though if I had the money, I probably would, but I wouldn't be able to justify it now.
I mean, I'm not concerned about the cost. I'm just like, is it something that I need?
I don't think you need it, but I mean, you're a bit like me. You're all in on 4K. Like since I got my 4K TV, like any of the 4K games I can play on my PS4 Pro, and obviously it's not even true native 4K, is it? But watching things in 4K and stuff like that, I'm all in. Like I love it. It looks so good. So I'm a bit like you on that front.
And we've been talking about wanting to get a UHD player, and they're like $300. So why not just pay couple $100 more and get access to all this stuff? But then again, it comes with $10 a month for the Game Pass,
but you can drop in and out of the Game Pass. You want that? Yeah, you can drop in and out of the Game Pass, Eric. So if you are playing a lot of PS4 games or a lot of Switch games, it's not like I think you can get a month by month subscription to Game Pass, and it's still only I think it's only $10 a month. Still, don't quote me on that. But
I don't think it's like PSN Plus where you get the game and then you just have it for the length of your Plus subscription. No. It's just, these are the games that are available.
Yeah, but if you find that you've got, I don't know, say Breath of the Wild didn't exist yet, and Breath of the Wild came out, and you're going to be playing your Switch every single day for the next month, cancel your Game Pass for the month, save yourself the $10. Then you can finish Breath of the Wild, and you go, oh, actually, could be some games on Game Pass I want to play, rejoin. Because I think it's a subscription like that. I don't think you have to bulk buy it. I don't think it costs more.
It's good, Eric, but what is the killer thing that you're interested in for it? The 4K?
The UHD player, and then the backwards compatibility with old Xbox games, like playing Morrowind and Oblivion.
I don't think you'd go back and do it. I really don't. You've always said you wouldn't go back to Skyrim, and I don't think you'd do Oblivion and Morrowind. I really don't.
We need to do Oblivion for the show at some point. Like, do it over the span of a few months.
See, I think if you didn't have this show, I would go, nah, just get yourself a UHD player. I'd be outright, just don't bother. But I mean, as shown by the fact that we played Bioshock recently, we are starting to get to that point where we're going to do more PS3, more 360 games because the age of those consoles, we're getting towards it. They're retro under our rhetoric of 10 years. Yeah, we're going to start playing more of those. So if for you, for the show, that's going to come in useful, great. However, I still don't have an Xbox, so how useful is it going to be if we play...
At the same time, Eric, sorry, Mike, don't you have an Xbox 360? So...
Yeah, I do.
So why do you need it?
Because it upscales it and it puts it in...
but then you're not getting the authentic experience of the game as
But you're still playing the original game.
Nah.
And I mean, I'm difficult here because like Eric is like one side of yes, do it. Dan's like no, and I'm in the middle going, well, do it, maybe do it.
And then I've got Zach over there
supposedly
sending
that
me
upscaling.
I've got Zach sending me links. He's like, "Hey, the Scorpio edition's back in at GameStop. Oh, hey, you should do it for this. Like, I have no problem being the devil. Spend your money, buy your wife some chocolates that says sorry from Zach." Like, damn it, Zach, knock it off.
Don't listen to that guy. He kicks
upscaling
piss in children's eyes.
My kind of guy.
Apparently, because they Red Dead Redemption's on their backwards compatibility. Apparently, that was really nice.
There you go, Eric. There's the answer. Horse shooting in 4K. But then again, the sequel's out soon, so why bother?
You know, Mike, I was just looking at, by our definition of retro, which I think it's worth reminding every now and again, is 10 years and older, because when we started this show in 2012, 10 years old was early PS2 games. And I think a lot of people forget that. And
I don't think, to be fair, if you look over the span of the show, not that many PS2 games have been done.
No, not a whole lot.
Well, retro is subjective, isn't it? It changes over the years. Well, it's always going to happen.
I don't remember what show. There was another retro show that was out there that they were being interviewed about, like, hey, how does your show define it? And because we had tried to verbalize it beforehand, and I think this show kind of snapped it into perspective, and it made sense in that, like you just said, it's subjective and it's a sliding scale. You can't just say N64 and older is retro, because that's not true. Like when 10 years ago, those games were closer to us. They were as close to us then as PS2 and now PS3 are now.
I think some people think as retro as being like SNES and Mega Drive and things like that. So essentially when games look dated and things like that. But look at PS2 now compared to what we have. It looks dated as.
Think about this. When my kids are in high school, the PS3 and 360 will be to them what the NES was to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to look at that and go, man, that's old. So it's a sliding scale, and I think that's great because it doesn't pigeonhole us into a certain era, and every year more games get added into the, hey, what are we going to play for the show? And now that this is here, and I think it's great. So
I don't think we're ever going to catch up.
But I'm really looking forward to being able to revisit some of those old PS3 titles and Xbox 360 titles that
Wii as well.
Yeah,
like Super Mario Galaxy, I think turned 10 in. I think it turns 10 in October.
Can't believe that.
Or November.
God, that game's good. That one has to be one that Tom plays with us, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. But as a prime example, Mario Galaxy doesn't feel that old. Oh wait, no, it was 2007 that was released. It's already old enough.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Japan, 1st of November 2007. I mean, I don't know if this has helped with your decision, Eric, but I mean, like Dan says, you've already got a 360. 360 backwards compatible to Xbox, isn't it?
Some games.
Yeah.
Some games, okay. So
I think that's true of the Xbox One as well, though.
But the thing is, in terms of situational of games we can play, I mean, most of the stuff that we end up playing that you can play on your 360 is probably not going to be Xbox exclusive because not all of us have Xboxes anyway.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to play that generation, probably PS2, which you have a PS2 already. So unless you really, really want that upscaled gaming, which it depends how important that is to you, I would say save the money. I mean, what is another extra $200? Did you say to go from a UHD player up to an Xbox One X?
And I don't even need the UHD player because I don't buy movies that much anymore.
But think, what else could you spend $200 on?
The analog or the Super NT? That's what I should buy.
So I think you might have just talked yourself out of it, but I don't know. Have a think. It's your money, dude. In the end.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll snag a sale. I know that's
fight against your impulses, my friend.
I can't, Dan. It's a sickness.
You need to.
It's a sickness.
I'll take advantage of that. Take advantage of that new thing that Xbox have announced. The leasing an Xbox thing. So for the listeners, if you don't know about this, Microsoft have announced that they're doing... It's like you're leasing the console. So I think for a standard Xbox One, it's $22 a month. It's just in America at the moment. For an Xbox One, it's $34.99 a month. And you get the console, and you get Game Pass, and you get Xbox Live for 2 years. And then at the end of the 2 years, you pay $34.99 a month. The console is yours, and then obviously you have to buy Live and Game Pass separately. And we were doing the maths last night. It works out about the same as buying it all outright, doesn't it? Eric, what is math, as you say, short for?
Mathematic.
Isn't that short for mathematics? So why does mathematics become math?
Because you're doing math. It's multiple. It is the... So if
it's multiple, where's the S?
Well, deer doesn't have an S, and it's multiple and singular.
Yeah, but it already had an S in at the beginning, so why take it off? Think of the calories you could be burning by putting that S in.
Yeah, my tongue making the sound is really burning calories.
When you're writing it down.
Oh.
Also, since when have you had a lisp?
I don't know. When I say mathematics, it's the one word I can't say.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, we were doing the math last night.
How would you say maths with the lisp? Math? See? If you have a lisp, you can't tell if there's an S in there.
And there's all the listeners with the lisp gone.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's that Irish guy.
It
worked out about the same, didn't it, as buying it outright? We did. But obviously they're going to go down in price eventually.
Yeah, but what happens if you default on the payments? Do they send somebody to break your kneecaps?
Ronnie Pickering.
Maybe Agnes is actually an Xbox console, and that's what he's looking.
Oh God, guys, should we get to our game of the week?
Possibly.
Actually, no, Mike. You were going to talk about the rumors of the next Xbox, right?
Oh yeah. So the rumors. So we always get these code names for consoles. Apparently, the code name is Scarlet. Johansson.
Pimpernel, possibly.
Huh?
Pimpernel.
What's that?
Scarlet Pimpernel.
The Scarlet Pimpernel.
Pimple nipple? What? I don't know what you're saying.
The Scarlet Pimpernel.
Pimpernel.
Pimpernel, yes. How have you not heard of this?
Is it
a film?
Like the Scarlet
Letter? Well, it was books first as well, actually.
Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so yes, rumor has it there's going to be two separate consoles. There's going to be like the full fat, whatever the next one's going to be called, Xbox console, and then
Xbox
basically
6 or something because they're stupid.
Yeah, the Xbox 2.
The next box.
Oh God, I could actually see them doing that. But there's also rumored they reckon around $150 price point for a box that won't have a disc drive in, and it will be a combination of cloud gaming and using the game, because you can download from Game Pass to play offline. Downloading things from Game Pass on there, so it'll obviously have a hard drive on there. You download the games from there, and you can't use physical media on it.
I just think the problem with that is with cloud gaming. Well, while Eric lives in a place with ridiculously fast internet and things like that, there's a lot of the world which doesn't have that luxury. So if you're doing cloud gaming with games with extreme visual fidelity, like we're going to get with the next gen consoles, how is that going to work?
Maybe somebody that's more versed in how this stuff works can elaborate on it, but with the upgraded internal components with higher RAM and processing power, maybe it can do a sort of buffering where it pulls down X amount of data and then is processing that while it's pulling down additional data in the background and storing it.
But
Well, the interesting thing
on a slow internet connection, is it going to work?
You say about slow internet connections, Dan. I mean, nothing's as bad as your house, but most people, generally, PlayStation Now seems to be regarded as shite. And back in when it first started, apparently it was a fucking shit show. A friend of mine, not long, had a PS4. They only had a PS4. I know, and they got it this year, I think. And she's a teacher. She was off for summer. She saw that there's a free trial on PS Now, so she thought she'd give it a go. And the internet at their house is not that fast. She gets less than 20 gig, I think, and 20 meg. Sorry. And she said, 20 meg. And she says it works absolutely fine. It's flawless. And she's normally a PC gamer as well, so she'd notice if it was shit.
See, I tried it on my PS4 a few months ago. So, and I actually got it to work. I played Mortal Kombat, and it was fine. And Mortal Kombat is a game where lag would be a serious issue, and it was fine. So,
see, I don't know anyone else who's obviously now you and my friend, but I don't know anyone else who's tried PS Now. You never really hear anyone. The only thing you ever hear is you go,
do they?
No, you go PS Now, and everyone goes, "Oh, that was a shit show."
Oh, it is, yeah.
It's too expensive. Like, hey, $4 to rent this game for an hour, or $6 to rent it for 2 days, or $8 to buy it.
And then you got Xbox with Game Pass for everything for $10 a month. That's just not working, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sony did well in this generation, winning people over, getting people to buy the PlayStation, and they've kept it up with good exclusives and stuff like that. But from a service standpoint, they are absolute shite.
Well, the thing is, most console generations, whoever is, with the exception of PS1 to PS2, 9 times out of 10, the leading company in one generation ends up being behind in the next generation. Is it hubris? I'm not sure. They get too ahead of the game, but that they don't think that they have to try and get people in. But I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think the PS3 360 era kind of ended pretty evenly.
I guess, yeah, they had that the last couple of years.
Sony was on the back foot that era. Remember, they started off badly with the PS3, overpriced, things like that. They kind of pulled it back a bit. I mean, I didn't get a PS3 until about 3 years after I got the 360, I would say. So,
I mean, it doesn't really affect people like us, as we mentioned before, but this whole thing with Fortnite, where they're refusing to do the crossplay with others, and it stinks of them being, well, we don't need to. But at the same time, are they losing people playing Fortnite on PlayStation? Because, like me, if I played Fortnite regularly, it'd be, if I knew that I couldn't do crossplay on my PlayStation 4, I'm just going to play it on my Switch. I'm going to move away from there, and I'm not going to buy, because it's all cosmetic stuff anyway. If I was buying stuff on there, I wouldn't be buying it through the PSN store. They're losing their cut. So I think it's costing them money. Fortnite, is the biggest game in the world right now. And they're just not playing ball with it. Is it arrogance? Not sure. We'll see on the next generation. I think if Xbox can get the games for the next generation, they're going to be a contender for Sony again.
I think, like we've talked about in the past, I think we're going to start seeing the term console generation kind of fall by the wayside. It's just going to be incremental upgrades, especially if we start moving towards cloud processing and cloud gaming, where it doesn't matter what the hell you have, as long as the box that you have can download and process and store the data. All of the major heavy lifting is going to be done on a back-end server somewhere.
Well, look, you can kind of touch on that already, because there's some games, I know it's not downloading, it's installing, but a lot of games on PS4 now, you can start playing so far in the game while still installing the rest.
Yeah.
Because the processing power is there for it to be doing all that behind
on my
the scenes.
internet, it's done about, when it says that, you get about 10 minutes before it stops.
Are you sure you want to get to the title screen before you have to stop?
You press start, then it's just like, yeah, we're downloading the data now. Thanks.
I found it interesting when I got the Insane Trilogy for Switch, because when you put that on the PS4, you got to the title screen, and you could play Crash Bandicoot 1, but you still had to wait for 2 and 3 to install, and then on the Switch, they were all 3 were just there straight away.
Yeah, because It's card based.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not that it's downloading the games, it's just installing the data.
But yeah, I don't know, because there are a lot of casual gamers out there. You know, we live in a world of the people, we're into our gaming. It's probably our main hobby. You know, we're the ones who, you know, we get in uproar over loot boxes. We get annoyed when things get delayed. You know, things like that. There are the people out there who literally they buy a console to play FIFA every year. It comes out, or Call of Duty. But you know, but these people do exist. You know, these people, they don't listen to video game news. They have no idea about all the things that go on. They're just literally, okay, all right, new Call of Duty's out. Okay, I'll buy that. Or next Call of Duty is going to be the next console. Well, I better save up for that and get it. Or they've been around a friend's house. He's got the new console, new Call of Duty or Madden or whatever is on there. These people exist, and they might be a majority. I don't know. But
can we hire PissEyes to take these people?
Yeah, but if they can get a $150 console and then go, well, okay, I've got the cheaper console, I'll buy the game off the store and just download it to it rather than having the disc. These people are going to go for that. I think it's a good idea. It's not for us. It's not for us.
No. We'll be the people that have always been targeted for the hardcore stuff.
Yeah, you know, there's going to be the full fat Xbox there.
As long as they keep the hardcore stuff, I don't have any issue with it. It is what it is, I guess.
I think if it works, it's a big if. If it works, I think it's a great idea. If you're one of those people who doesn't mind deleting, you know, if it's only got a 1 terabyte hard drive and you want to download some more games off the store because you could only download them off the store. God, if you don't mind having to delete stuff, fine. And hopefully it's got USB sockets and you can put external hard drive on.
If it's only got a 1 terabyte hard drive, back when the PS3 came out, we had three choices, 20, 40, and 60 gig. We're like, man, I want that 60 gig.
Mental, isn't it?
There are games that take up more space than that now.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
But
I never understand the issue. Like, people are always moaning on about the PS4 storage space. I've got the OG PS4, which came out in the first year, and I just delete games off it because I won't go back and play them.
Dan, buy a Pro.
No.
Buy a Pro.
No.
Don't you have a 4K TV?
Do you think...
I do have a 4K TV,
so
but I'm more than happy to wait for the next generation when everything will be 4K.
What if that's 4 years from now?
I wait.
Think of all
I'm
the entertainment.
I'm future-proofing. I don't care about graphics, honestly. I'm not that bothered.
Mark that time, and any time he now says the graphics were shit.
When have I ever said that?
Oh, God.
Exactly, never.
Have you not noticed, though, that 500 million celebration PlayStation console?
Oh, I forgot to stay up and order one.
Yeah. That has a 2 terabyte hard drive in.
I was going to try to get one, but...
I am wondering if maybe
you already have a Pro.
Because it's 50,000 worldwide.
So?
Super rare.
And it looks nice as well.
What would you do with it?
Put it in a box on a shelf and look at it.
You have too much money, my friend.
But it leads me to my question. Do you think maybe towards Christmas this year, or maybe even next year, they'll PS4 Pro with 2 terabyte in?
I don't know, because it's easy enough to just throw a 2 terabyte hard drive in yourself. I want to throw a 4 terabyte in.
I'd love to put a solid state in mine.
Yeah, that's spendy.
Yeah,
I have a hyperdrive.
I could justify it, but a hyperdrive?
Yeah.
What, like that they have in the spaceships in the sci-fi?
Yeah, the hyperdrive. Just feed it a bunch of Mountain Dew and Skittles.
One last thing before we move on. There was an as well. There's some sort of gaming convention in September. I can't remember which one it is. Is it the one in Paris? I can't remember. Anyway, there's another rumor going around. Sony might announce that you can do offline downloads on PlayStation Now to compete with Game Pass, but they'd have to fix their pricing for that.
I think Sony's got the PlayStation Experience coming up. They usually do it like a conference.
That was August 18th, I think.
No, because PS Experience usually has new trailers and stuff. I think there's a different one which is just open to the public, which is like an exhibition, but they have like a thing where it actually has new trailers and stuff because they debuted the second trailer for Final Fantasy VII at one of these.
PlayStation Experience was held at GMM Live House in Bangkok, August 18th and 19th.
I'm just trying.
I'm sure it's a separate event as well.
They showed Dragon Quest XI, Kingdom Hearts 3, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
There's Paris Games Week in October, but I'm sure it's some convention in September. The rumor is they might announce that you can do offline gaming with PlayStation Now.
I'm still not going to get it.
Yeah, probably me neither.
Yeah. Guys, should we move on to our game of the week?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes.
We have tackled a game I've been hunting for quite some time. Fortunately, I didn't have to emulate it. But moving back to the old Sega Genesis and covering Beyond Oasis. Or the story of Thor, if you live elsewhere.
The Story of Thor.
Ooh. Which is a really odd name, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Developed by Ancient and came out in 95.
Yeah, 94 for Japan. Tail end of 94.
Has a pretty well-renowned composer, Yozu Kashiro, who is pretty well known for his music in ActRaiser, Sonic the Hedgehog, Revenge of Shinobi, Streets of Rage, and I think those are his most
Wait,
famous.
the guy who did Streets of Rage was involved with this game.
Apparently, only 1% of it was actually used,
No,
even though
hang on.
90% of it was dumped.
Yep. This Mike started playing this before all of us, and he sent us a little video going, "This is the sound effects from Streets of Rage." And oh my god, this entire game uses the entire Streets of Rage sound effect library. It's insane. Everything from the noise that the fire-breathing fat guys use on Streets of Rage to jumping sounds and like the menu selections.
The main character going, "Ah!"
So I think it's important to note right away that this game is not innovative.
No.
But that doesn't mean that it's terrible. I was really...
Well, hang on, wait. No, okay, that's a little unfair because I think... Because it's essentially like a Zelda clone, isn't it?
It's basically Zelda.
Yeah, but Zelda clones generally... It's, tap A to stick your sword in people and whatnot. Whereas this...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. But this... We mentioned about Streets of Rage. In terms
Try not to get period on it.
Stick your sword in people.
Well, he does. He just does a little stabby sword, doesn't he? Just. But this, in terms of the combat, we've mentioned Streets of Rage already.
Into Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Exactly. Sponge Boy, me Bob. You've probably me off my track here, man.
That's wrong, Mike.
Yeah. No, that's an actual quote on one of the episodes.
Okay.
Anyway, you're proper throwing me off. I hate you.
Welcome to me trying to describe the WonderSwan to you two idiots.
Karma. Anyway, in terms of the combat, it does borrow from Streets of Rage quite a bit. And in that way, I mean, I wouldn't say it's innovative, but I'd say it's different to everything else that was like this at the time.
Yeah.
And even you take like Illusion of Gaia, even that didn't have the combat. That was still just a bit like stabby, wasn't it?
Gaia.
So I think to say it's outright not innovative in any way is
it is in a degree where you've got your sprites and spirits that you can summon and the way that you solve different puzzles. But at its core, Beyond Oasis is an action-adventure game that is essentially a very watered-down, simplistic Zelda game.
Yeah.
And it's really all there is to say about what style of game it is. It's a mix-up of Zelda and obviously Streets of Rage. I think it plays a lot like a beat-em-up more than it does an action-adventure game.
Yeah.
I want to bring something up, actually. Dan, you said, because you were playing the 360 Sega Classics, weren't you, version?
Yes, I was.
The Classics version, weren't you? You said you were having a load of trouble with the hit action.
You know what, Mike? I may have preemptively said this too early, because I didn't have an issue with it as I progressed.
I think it's just his learning.
It's a bit of a janky game at times. Basically, the early bosses is where I had the issues, and they just kept hitting me and knocking me over, and then I wasn't hitting them when I should be, and it was just weird. But towards the end,
I think
I didn't have these issues.
I think you do have a point though with the hit detection, because I think each of the characters actually has its own square, and you are also your own square. But if you're diagonal, like down to the left of it, and you swing towards them, you're not going to hit them. You either need to be directly below them or directly to the side of them. It's not. There's really no angular hit detection with it.
I think it depends on what weapon you're using as well, because as base weapon, you have like this dagger which has infinite uses, but then you can pick up other weapons which have a set amount of attacks before they break and go forever. And the swords are much easier to hit things with than the dagger.
I was trying to, as I always do, a bit of research on the game before we come and do the show. Apparently, there are actually versions of weapons destructible. So you can find, obviously there's the broadsword and the death sword and everything like that. You can find versions of them that you can have.
Well,
which I never found any of those.
I think before we get into that, let's start at like, what's this game about?
Prince Ali, glorious Alibaba. That's basically it.
It is. It's Aladdin. Oh yeah, we forgot. It's Aladdin in a Zelda game playing Streets of Rage on a desert island. It's a weird mishmash of a bunch of stuff. But Ali finds this golden armlet.
In the Kingdom of Oasis, there's legends of magical powers and battles between these two ancient wizards that had these two armlets.
They had a gold and a silver armlet.
Yeah, Rihal, who possessed the gold armlet and had dominion over the spirits of nature. And the second was, how did you guys pronounce this? I was saying Agito?
Agito.
Okay.
Mainly because I was thinking of the Final Fantasy Agito.
I'm unfamiliar. But he was a dark sorcerer who had the silver armlet and summon monsters, ghouls, and the undead and things like that. And they had a big showdown, and they were both seemingly killed, and their matching armlets were lost to all knowledge.
And Ali finds the golden one. And
he gets the message from Rahal, doesn't he?
Yeah, the gold armlet belonged to the good wizard. The silver one belonged to the evil wizard. Like you said, chaos and destruction. The gold armlet is the one that he finds. And this is one of the neat gameplay mechanics that comes into this. So you are able to, using this gold armlet, summon different spirits. Fire, water, shadow, and plant.
Which is fucking dumb.
That's a stupid... I'm a plant that can eat grapes. It's dumb. Basically, he eats doors. But the game itself is extremely linear.
Yeah, so it's going from checkpoint to checkpoint, essentially, isn't it? You get these flags on the map, and you just have to go there, and then go through a dungeon, then you get some kind of MacGuffin, which do things. Not sure what.
Well, the first kind of part of the game is collecting all four of the spirits, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah. So you go to the first dungeon to get Ditto, the water spirit, not Tinkerbell.
See, I was saying Daito.
I said Daito as well.
Okay, I'm going to stick with Ditto.
Get your Pokemon head off.
No.
Get your Pokemon head off.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The spirits themselves actually lend a little bit of interesting gameplay to it, though, because they each have 3 different attacks or abilities. Daito gives you the ability to extinguish fire by shooting a water bubble at it, or you can double tap C and then she'll heal you, or you can hold it and she'll turn into a big tornado and attack all the enemies on the screen.
Yeah, the fire spirit Ifrit, his basic attack is like breathes fire in a direction, and double tap is he does a rush move, and then his hold down move is he shoots fireballs in all directions.
But he also just punches enemies automatically as well.
Yeah,
yes, he does, which is very useful.
To have.
Yeah.
He also can be used to light torches, which comes into the gameplay.
Now, Shadow, let's talk about the rest of them. Shadow, or Shade, he's a doppelganger that kind of follows you around. And this bothered me because when you have all of these spirits, they follow you around. But when you have Shade, it's like your character is ghosting across the screen, and it's like another version of you following like 2 or 3 pixels behind.
I liked it.
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
It was neat. He actually provides more passive ability, like the ability to absorb damage for you, prevents fall damage, but then he ejects from your stomach to grab onto things for you and pull them towards you or pull you towards different poles. Or you can hold it down and create a doppelganger that you can walk across like fire pits or through spikes and stand on switches. And then Bo, or did you call him Bow?
Nah, Bo.
Bo, okay. He's a stupid Venus flytrap with teeth that...
Think Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, he does jack shit other than there's like a few places in the game where you have to summon him to eat a door. So
then he gets in your way so you can't enter the door.
Well, there is a couple spots in one of the last dungeons where there's boulders rolling towards you, and you can use his skill to freeze things or slow down time that you can get through without getting hurt much. And
I did not know that.
That's about it.
Did you know that if you double tap C, Dan, he'd move?
Yes, I did.
He'll move to where you're at.
But I couldn't be bothered with that.
He's kind of like little, was it Bow Wow from Link's Awakening, where he would attack enemies passively.
Oh, yeah. I never thought of that.
Yeah, that's how I thought of him.
Yeah. He did come in useful, other than opening the grates, he did come in useful for me once, and that was in a room with a load of platforms and there's these electrical orbs flying around.
Oh, yeah.
And he just ate all of them for me, and that was the only other time he was useful.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to talk to you guys about that bit, actually, because...
okay, go ahead. Just go ahead.
We're not going through it in order, so it's fine.
We were talking about the spirits and how that.
Yeah, but I just want to talk. There is a jump in this game, right? But if I'd say 75% of it not really used, and then in the last few dungeons they introduced platforming sections, and they're just bad.
Not as bad as Landstalker, though.
Not as bad as Landstalker by any means, but still bad. It's a game not built for it. And they throw really cheap enemies at you, which just knock you off ledges all the time. It's just really
Which is why you need shade.
Yep.
The management, like the health and magic management in this game kind of becomes a little bit overwhelming. So the spirits, you can kind of summon them whenever you want if you have an item, but you summon them from different elements around the world. So Dido, you have to summon from water. Ifrit, you summon from fire. Shade, there are these crystals, and then Bow, there's a specific.
Well, it's anything with a reflection, because later on with Shade, you can summon him from a mirror.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I never tried this. So with Bow, or Bo, even whatever you want to fucking call him, you have to find those little versions of him. But apparently, if you just do it towards grass, you can get him as well.
Is it 100% of the time?
I don't know. No idea. I did, like I said, when I was trying to do some research on the game earlier, I noticed it. Whether it works or not, I don't know.
So when these spirits are summoned, there's a SP meter, spirit power, that is slowly depleting just by having them active, and then utilizing their skills depletes that faster. And then if it depletes entirely, it disappears, and then you need to go back and find them again, which kind of becomes a little cumbersome later because you need them through a certain point in the level, and then losing them requires you to do a bunch of backtracking. But you get items that allow you to replenish your SP. But I noticed that the item drop rate at the beginning of this game was huge, and then like the middle third was just nothing. I was struggling.
I wanted to ask you guys about this. I'm glad you said it, because it totally dropped off for me. I had nothing for like about 4 dungeons. Then towards the end, it picked up a bit again.
Yeah, I was struggling through. Oftentimes what I would do is I would get to a part where I knew that if I died, it would respawn me right where I was. Obviously, if you're in a dungeon and you die, it kicks you back to the beginning. But if you're out in the main world and you've made some progress through, if you die, it brings you back to that same screen, but with full health and full SP.
Oh, awesome.
So I kind of abused that system a little bit.
Yeah. But there's these items you can pick up, like hearts. Are they continues or are they levels?
No, that actually levels you up.
Well, the hearts...
That is not apparent.
Yeah, the hit point, basically, because I checked it, if you go, when you pick up the hearts, if you go into the menu where it says what your actual hit points are in numerical form, each time you pick up a heart, it increases by 2, your
But
maximum.
it also increases your level by 1.
Yeah, so the more health you get a high rank. But there's also ones that pick up that increases your SP as well.
So is the heart drop rate specific to certain enemies, or do you have to just kill as many as you can?
It's like leveling up in RPGs where you kill X amount, you get back-end XP, and then you level up. So when you get that back-end XP, boom, a heart drops.
I thought they were just dropped in specific areas after you'd killed a certain amount of enemies.
But what's odd is if you don't pick the heart up right away, it disappears, and then another one won't drop for a while. So I wonder if it resets your XP for that technical level that you're on.
Possibly.
There's also these gems that you can pick up, apparently, which I had no idea what they did throughout.
Apparently there's 60 of them. I got 13.
Well, I had a look in the instruction manual. So the gems you pick up, there's 4 different colors. So there's blue, I don't know if it was red or orange, a dark blue one, and a green one. So the more of each color you find, the more powerful the spirit it relates to, the more powerful their magic is.
I just didn't see any difference.
I did. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't see shit.
Well, I didn't realize because as you go through, you do certain dungeons and you start getting given these random items from people that you meet. There's a pendant, there's the key of time and space, there's a psycho ring and a sun's charm that you get off all these different people. And it wasn't until because I looked in the instruction manual before I started playing this. I forgot about this and I went back and looked, but these things actually give you passive abilities that I didn't even realize I had. So
yeah,
the
I was
sunburst
surprised by
pendant,
this when you sent it as well. I had no idea, because it doesn't tell you this at all.
No.
So how the hell are you meant to know it? I don't know.
So the sunburst pendant, basically, when you're stood in sunlight, you will regain health.
I thought that was just a standard feature. Like, oh, hey, I'm not.
No, the psycho ring, same thing. Gives Ellie the ability to regain spell points if it's used. So later on, I don't know if your SP started going up when you weren't using a spirit.
I just thought that was a standard feature of the game.
No, it not happened from the start. And then there's a sun charm, which allows Ali to regain health and SP quickly when he's standing in sunlight.
I didn't know this at all. That would have been
And,
Well, that's what screwed me later in the game is I got partway through a dungeon and went, oh, I'm going to go back outside and regen. So I stood out there, regen, walk in, whole dungeon reset.
I didn't even realize that. But I've just looked now, looking in the I've got the instruction manual. I've just realized a bit about the hearts that I've missed. So Ali starts the game with 200 hit points and a skill level of 1. Ali can increase his hit points and power by collecting level up hearts or receiving a certain number of experience points. So yeah, Eric, you're right.
Yeah. It kind of comes down.
This is food restores hit points, so when Ali's life force gets low, start chowing.
Well,
the food you pick up is very random.
A cheese that looks like a cookie, a toadstool that obviously looks poisonous, and then just fully cooked beef.
I've always loved these old school items though, like in retro games when you're like, oh, you're like obviously low in health. Oh, you're a bit unwell. Ooh, an entire wheel of cheese that'll sort you out.
We just. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the video of me and Eric did where we played Streets of Rage 2. We just found it hilarious, the fact that you ingest whole turkeys into your crotch.
It's like an episode of South Park where they start eating through their ass.
Yeah. It does kind of come down to managing what items you have, though, because you only get, 12 items to store? Something like that? 9 or 12?
It's not many.
Do you want to hold on to items that replenish your SP or items that replenish your HP or a combination of both? Because when you get further into the dungeons, it's harder to regen your SP in the earlier dungeons, and you need those spirits for the boss, and it's just it kind of becomes a little bit cumbersome in the management aspect of it, especially when you're not getting the drop rate. So sometimes I'd find a room where enemies would regen and just sit there and fight them over and over and over, hoping that shit would drop. I'm like, well, this isn't dropping, so move on.
Yeah, and dropping items out of your items is you have to press start. What's that about?
Yeah, I figured that out by accident. Because there was points, because I must have found a secret chest, but in the first dungeon I found a crossbow that normally come with about 20-30 shots in. I found one that had 99 shots. And then as I was going through, I was like, oh, another crossbow, pick that up. But I started struggling to pick up swords. I found the swords so much more useful than crossbows. And I was like, well, full of fucking crossbows. And a couple of dungeons later, I pressed start while I was on a thing. I was like, oh, I could have done with that earlier. But I took advantage of Ditto's healing quite a bit. If I got to a point in a dungeon,
Yeah, I used that later on a lot.
when you got to the point where your SP auto regened, if I found a place where I could summon her, and then even if I have to go back a screen to get the spirit that I want, if I could summon her, I'd redo my health, stand and wait for my SP to regenerate, go back and do what I wanted.
Did you guys find that the first 2/3 of this game just flew by? Like, oh man, I'm making great progress. Apparently, so this game is broken down by number of flags. And when you press L1 or L, whatever it is, it would show you a map of the island and where the flag would be. Like, all right, go to that flag. And I was very loosely, like, I just like to look at a walkthrough to see where I am to gauge my distance from the end. I don't typically follow a walkthrough completely. So I looked at it, I'm like, oh, shit, I'm at flag 9. Awesome. Out of 13, I should be done with this in no time. And then I looked at a video, like, oh, this guy beat it in 2 hours and found where I was on that video in the 2-hour mark. I was at 23 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
He got to flag 9 in 23 minutes. And then I looked at him like, yeah, I guess I'm only like an hour and a half into this. So what the hell? And then, of course, flags 10, 11, 12, and 13 took 4 hours.
Well, obviously at the end it gives you a stat screen and gives you your time. Now, I did use save state, but I only died, I know, maximum of 5 times anyway, so I must not have saved that much time. But I finished up at 4 hours 21, so it's not a particularly long game.
And I think that's a bit deceiving, though. I don't think that's actual playtime. And I've read some people who have said that's not actual playtime as well, because I didn't use save states. I was playing on the Genesis version, or the Genesis Classics. I know I put more than 4.5 hours into that game. I'm positive. I probably put 4 hours into it yesterday morning alone. And I played it every night or every other night for the past week for at least an hour.
I would say 4 hours is about right for me.
So how did the whole restarting game and everything work on the PlayStation? Because I was playing an emulated version of the original version. And this game was one of those Mega Drive cartridges that you could save on the cartridge. So you had the save states there on that. And when you died in this, it kicked you back to the title screen. And
where could you actually see? Where could you save?
You press start and go down to the bottom to the little quill.
But it was always crossed out for me
because you can't save inside a dungeon.
That'll be why.
So I use if you press select, it'll take you to like the Sega Genesis collection menu, and you can press save, and technically it creates a save state, but you have to go save and then choose the file and then overwrite it and wait. So I would kind of spam that a little bit, because when you load, it loads you directly into that spot.
Yeah, that's what I did on mine. So I was doing that.
Which is why my deaths is super low, because if I died, I would just reload. But
so where does it kick you back to? Back to my original question, because it kicks you back to the top screen on the original thing.
If you die outside a dungeon, it reloads you to the entry point of the last main area that you entered.
But with full health, so sometimes it's good to die.
Right, okay.
But it brings you back to the point of the time clock being horribly wrong, because I didn't ever get kicked back to the menu screen and have to restart in those locations. I utilized the save state feature to a degree, and therefore you would think that the clock would still just be continuing to tick forward accurately. I know I put more than 4.5 hours into this.
Strange.
So I definitely think it's way off.
I mean, I remember this having saves within the cartridge, because I actually rented this as a child. So I do remember this game ever so slightly. And when I've rented it, that typical thing when you used to rent cartridges and someone else's save was still on there.
Oh, I loved reading other people's game saves.
Yeah, and like obviously I'd started the game, my own game, and I got to 2 spirits, and I was like, oh, go and have a look at their game. And they were at the point in the game where they had all four, and they were saved at, a bit later on when you have to get Bo to go in the grate to get under the castle, like down at the bottom near the ship. They were saved right there, and I was like, I went in there and summoned the plant. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Maybe I can get here someday.
Yeah, and I did. Here I am. Follow your dreams, people. Follow your dreams.
Woo! Yeah, the first... How many dungeons technically are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish main dungeons with a boss at the end. And I think the first 4 bosses were pretty simple. The first one was this giant crab nabber, and you just have to destroy.
Never.
Just have to destroy his. Oh, we didn't talk. We kind of loosely talked about the different weapons that you can pick up. So Ali has a dagger that's just infinite use. You can pick up swords, crossbows, and bombs that all have a pre-designated amount of uses before they break. Stupidly, I used some of those weapons at the very beginning before I realized how rare and valuable they were. And
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a regular drop, so I was like, yeah, just change.
Yeah. So I just started using the dagger throughout and then saving all the major weapons for the boss. But I didn't start struggling on the bosses until the Red Dragon. I do have to say, though, I really enjoyed the giant turtle. You get dropped down into this 2D side-scrolling segment where you're being chased by this. It looked less like a turtle and more like one of those sandworms from Tremors that would spit rocks at you, and then occasionally its tongue would come out, and you'd have to attack that.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
So this is the first 3 bosses are the ones I had issues with. Collision detection, it's particularly Crabnabber and Black Skull. So I don't know. It's weird. So Red Dragon, Eric, you struggled with that apparently. I absolutely boned him. Like,
oh yeah, the dragon was a piece of piss.
See, that one I struggled with because what was annoying about that is that I came in and I had 2 health items, one for half health and one for full health, or one for 3/4 health. And I was almost dead when I walked through the door, and as soon as I walked through, he starts spewing fire at you, and I had just enough time to press start and pop a health potion, and then I would lose most of it, just because I walk through the door and he's already spewing fire.
Was this also because the screen directly before playing this boss is the worst part of the game, where you're trying to jump across those platforms and the fucking wizards keep knocking you off? Yes. And it's before you get shade as well.
Yeah, that is so annoying. I also hated the Grand Wizard boss because
he was what I struggled with most.
Yeah, it basically is in the middle of this black section where you can fall down. You've got to jump across these platforms to get towards him while dodging projectiles and things like that.
I fought him for less than 15 seconds. Mike made this out to be like, this is the most difficult, insanely impossible boss. I'm like, great, this is going to suck, because I was kind of on a truncated time schedule. I walk in, hop across 2 platforms, hit him 3 or 4 times, he dies. I'm like, oh, there's this big floating green orb, hit it twice, and it's dead.
It's easy peasy when you get to him. But
I had no problem getting to him. I walked him like platform jump, and it rotated around, hit him 3 times. He was dead. I didn't even make a full circle around him. I was on that middle platform, so there's two circles of it, the outside circle and then the inside one. And I made it to the inside circle and started hitting him. Everything was dead by the time I hit the back. I didn't even make a 180 on it before it was done.
Wow. No, honestly, I struggled with that so much. I couldn't get near him. I just couldn't get near him.
Huh.
And then the other bosses, so there's this one called Non-Entity, which is basically floating eyes with a third eye above him. You've got to shoot him in the face with a light armlet and then slash away at his third eye.
Because you're not allowed any spirits on that fight.
No, you're not. That came a bit out of left field, that boss. And I was like, what the hell's going on here?
In looking at these monsters, Rock Monster was utilized twice. He was the third boss, and then he was also after the Red Dragon again.
Yeah, he was a sub-boss, wasn't he?
Oh,
Which I thought was very strange.
Yeah, it was the only dungeon that had a sub-boss.
Yeah, you did him, and then you went further on.
Yeah.
Padding!
Because it's in that annoying dungeon where you have to light all the torches.
Ugh. Red Dragon was the only boss I died on. I'm looking at all of these here. It's the only one that killed me.
The last boss was easy peasy.
Oh, yeah. It reminded me of the final boss from Demon Souls. Like, all these really cool, difficult bosses, and then the last one, just a lump of sticks.
I think it looks like, the troll face meme.
Yeah.
It does.
Like, as soon as he popped up, I was like, what's that?
It looks like the guy from Avengers, the guy with the arrow that he whistles. I can't think of his name.
Oh, Yondu.
Yeah, he looks like Yondu.
Yeah, he does. And a little bit like a super mutant from Fallout.
Yeah.
Did you guys struggle with the Jito at all?
No.
The silver armlet?
Nah. Oh, but can we talk about the fucking plot point of who Silver Armlet is as well?
No.
Because that's just like... So, you see Silver Armlet a few times, which is annoying that it's just called Silver Armlet as well. So this person who you don't know who it is ended up getting the Silver Armlet and then just took the name and is causing shit and trying to resummon Agito and everything like that. And part of the way through the game, randomly, there's this like sage that you save up on this like cliffside fortress. And he just suddenly randomly mentions that you had this other sister.
Oh yeah,
and that's it. That's the only mention of it. And then, like, after you defeat Silver Armlet, it's like, oh, it's Gwyn, your older sister, who disappeared years ago and is assumed dead.
Jesus,
it was a bit out of left field.
The
story is
garbage.
It is pretty garbage. Like, he's a prince, basically, of this Oasis place, and you basically go and see your dad, and he just goes, "I'll go off and get this thing." You just go. And then his sister's there, and she literally has no purpose except to heal you. She's just there.
Did you guys go, every time you had to go back to the palace, did you go in that other room and get the 4 chests?
No.
There was like there was 2 doors you could go through. 2 doors you could go through. One led to the throne room, and one led to this other room that had 4 chests, just had random items, and every time you go back, you can reopen those chests and get some items.
Huh.
Usually a wheel of cheese.
A wheel of cheese.
Fish.
Huh. I did not know.
Maybe a garlic.
I liked the garlic. So, why is it called The Story of Thor over there? Because I came into this thinking, great, it's called Thor. Let's have some Nordic references. Not one.
No, I got to the end. I was like, well, where was the Thor content?
Yeah. So, apparently, the name Thor comes from the word Toa, which refers to a spirit world where no humans live, which comes back to the non-entity boss, because when you approach him, he says, you are now in this realm where it's on the border of the spirit realm and the human realm where nobody lives, which it's where all this stuff is happening. The war... that's where the war is being waged between the 2 wizards in Toa.
I'm not buying it.
No.
Apparently the English version...
I think most people who played this for our version would not know this.
So did any of you manage to find why they changed the name? Because I couldn't find it anywhere. Like,
I can't.
I've mentioned a few times, always trying to do a little bit of research.
The only thing I can think of is a negative reaction to, like, it being in a desert and kind of having that perception against people of that race. The only thing I can think of, but, like, why?
It's strange.
It's just...
I found very little information on this. Yeah. Usually when we research stuff, I can find bits and bobs to bring up during the show and stuff, and I just couldn't find anything.
It's a very odd change. It's very odd. If it was Nordic, yes, fine.
So there are some... I thought... I sent you guys a couple messages about misleading directions in this game. So there's one point where you come back to the kingdom, and it's being overrun by enemies and soldiers, and there's one house where a family has survived, and there's a sewer that you can go through, but it's blocked by a grate that apparently you need a plant to eat the grate. And they say, great, go to the forest in the northeast. I'm like, great, let's go to the northeast. There's no forest in the northeast. And then I pull up the map, and it's in the northwest. You said, oh, I thought for sure he said northwest. I'm like, no, I definitively remember him saying northeast. That is actually a translation error.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry I doubted you.
I know.
Yeah, fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So later on in this, we mentioned there's different ways of summoning the spirits, and most of the time you use the same means. Like you said, Shade, there's any kind of fire for Ifrit, those little chatty plants for Bo. But ditto, there's obviously waterfalls, any kind of water. There's bits where there's drips and like vapors coming out of the ground. Well, there was one spot where I had to use a guide on this game because I just couldn't fucking get past because there was this fire in the way. And usually you use ditto to get rid of the fire. And I spent ages trying to figure out.
To get to that location, you had to have shade to cross over that gap. You're like, well,
yeah.
There's
so
no
there was
water.
no where to summon her. And I had to check a guide, and when I checked the guide, I was like, one, I can't believe I'm so dumb, but also two, this has never come up at a single point in the game, and you almost had to take a guess that this is what you had to do. So there was these enemies that were these little, like, puddles. Imagine,
they look like pancakes.
Yeah,
they are the
like
worst enemies ever.
Yeah, when Alex Mack used to turn into, like, the little puddle, it's like that, but coloured. There's a 90s reference for you.
Alex Mack.
But there were a couple of those enemies that were blue, and you were like, you never ever thought of them being made of water, and they were always respawning in the screen beforehand, and you had to use your armlet on those to summon Ditto.
Does that mean you can shoot the brownie ones and they turn into a ship monster?
Maybe, but I'd spent ages trying to figure that out.
So, with those enemies, kind of a side note here, there are definitely different heights. You've got standard enemies, and then these zombies pop up that apparently you can blow their legs off, and then they crawl at you. And the only time you can attack them is when they jump. Same with the snakes. Same with these puddle monsters.
You crouch.
No, you can use your special moves as well. Oh, you can crouch and attack. I didn't know that.
See,
so when you hold down the jump button, he crouches, and you can just stick him with your sword then.
Oh, bollocks. I was using the special attacks.
That's how you defeated them. That's how you defeated the zombies when they're crawling, and how you defeated the rainbow death puddles.
Stupid game. I was using the really complicated move where you press back and forward and press B, and then he does a stupid leaping attack.
Telling
you do that move? I did that so many times accidentally.
Yes.
Telling you guys, these old games, read the instruction manual beforehand. All of these moves were in there.
Do it.
that is actually in game. There is a section at the back of the palace where his mum and dad are. His dad and the sister, sorry. And there's some books which tell you how to do them.
Oh, yeah, there is, isn't there? Yeah.
I remember that now.
Because somebody goes, make sure you go in the back and read the books before you go out. And then they describe
no, Mom, I'm an adventurer, not a damn nerd.
Storyline happens to other people.
Yeah, it does. I could have gotten through this game in Japanese.
Yeah, overall, you know what? I said earlier in the week I was really annoyed with the detection and stuff, but I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either.
I didn't love it. It was all right.
It's honestly, it's probably one that I could see myself playing again if I had some downtime. Like, yeah, I kind of want to play through that again.
I mean, it has got some replayability. I mentioned earlier that at the end you get a little stat screen and how many of the jewels you managed to get and how many secrets you found and your rank and your level and how long it took you to beat it. And if you were using the original Mega Drive cartridge, which has the save slots, it then saves them on a top 5 list as well. So if there's more than one of you playing the same cartridge, you could try and beat each other to get higher on the scoreboard.
I'm interested in these infinite weapons and things like that because I didn't find one.
Did you guys have the Omega sword for Vegito?
Yeah.
So I actually had to reset my game and do quite a bit of the last dungeon because I picked up that sword. And so if you go to pick up a weapon and it's full, it goes, and you just can't pick it up. Well, that sword
it makes that stupid spring noise.
Which may actually be the only sound effect in the game that's not from Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Whatever sound it makes. It dropped it. It was in a chest right before the final, sort of right before the final boss. I picked it up and was just like, all right, I'm going to pick it up and start walking. So I picked it up and just immediately moved into the next room, not realizing that it didn't actually pick it up. And then I went back down and it was gone. I'm like, well, shit, that sword was red. It was probably awesome. I need to reset and I had like 20 minutes to redo on it. But yeah, that sword is basically what made the final boss super easy.
I found a website that was like looking into the game and everything. And this is a quote from the website. I did send this to you guys already, but it says, strangely, Ancient ported over most of the sound library from Streets of Rage 3. And while they can be found in the cartridge data, hardly any of them are used besides the item pickup / eat food sound.
Bullshit!
No, right. I've played a lot of Streets of Rage in my time, and all of it was Streets of Rage. Like I said earlier, everything from the fire noise to everything, it's Streets of Rage. 100%. It's like a Landstalker using the sonic jump noise. Can you remember, Eric?
Yeah.
Eric, that composer I can't remember the name of who did the music.
Yuzo Koshiro.
That's him. When I started playing this before you guys, I said I liked the music. You said it was controversial because it doesn't hold up to his other games. As I got further on, I realised what you meant. Like some of the music in the last dungeons was a fucking dirge. It was ugh.
It's just generic.
What was
Mike,
it? Some
Mike
of it,
Tyson's terrible butt rock level. That's how bad it
some
is.
of it was.
But I
just
mean, he's coming off.
disjointed
He's coming off ActRaiser and Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's.
I kept thinking, the main like field theme when you in between the palace and stuff, and it has those big trumpets going. I kept thinking it was going to go into Rocket Launchers, the big.
I'm still so gutted that you didn't like that game, Eric. I loved it.
Which one?
It's so good. Rocket Knight Adventures.
Is that the one
That
where
is
you
a hell of a
had
game.
the half-naked pigs that were trying to seduce you?
Yeah.
It's such a good game.
That is an amazing game. Hard, very hard.
I think he gave up. I think that's what the problem is.
Well, maybe we could revisit one of the other ones sometime because there's Sparkster as well, isn't
He also did.
There is.
Yeah, he did Revenge of It. Okay. Trying to see if he did anything else. There is a prequel to this game called The Legend of Oasis for the Sega Saturn, which I'm kicking myself for not purchasing when I saw it at one of the stores. It was $80 though.
I'm surprised it isn't called The Story of Thor 2.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
God's sake.
Yeah. It's a successor and prequel. You take on the role of Leon.
The Story of Thor's.
Thor.
I'm looking at gameplay of it now. Yeah, it's essentially the same. It's the exact same gameplay, just
But
prettier.
it looks more on par with compare screenshots of that to screenshots of Alundra, and they look very, very similar.
It's not, but it almost looks like a 3D sprite as well.
Well, they're all hand drawn.
Yeah, it looks quite nice, but
Yeah.
Was that well received?
Let's see. Mostly positive. But the
Again,
common
it's got the
subjects
same
of
enemies
praise
as
were
well.
the sharp graphics, controls, blending of action, puzzle, and RPG. Most common criticism, it was difficult to judge the difference in height between different platforms. That's another annoying part of this game. There's a part where you're jumping across the top of the mountains, and they look like they're parallel with each other, but you jump across and you fall.
Yep.
You're like, well, I got to move down to the south side of this to land on the top part of the one that's directly parallel with you.
This looks like more of the same.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No, not at all. I
Apparently
said I
it's
enjoyed
really long, too.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Penis joke. Plenty of dick jokes in the Unwrapped. Yeah, I give this a solid recommendation. I was kind of put off by the first hour of it. I'm like, oh, this is really simple. I mean, it's really basic. But as I got into it and you start playing around with the different sprites.
So basic. Oh my god.
Well,
Give me my pumpkin spice latte.
I went in with that nostalgia of having played this as a kid and wanting to play it again. So the first hour I was like, oh yeah, this is revisiting this again. I guess you guys didn't have that, but I can see how that first hour would have put you off a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I say, I started feeling that it was a bit janky. It was getting annoying, but towards the end, I kind of had a good time. So I'm not giving it a hearty pip, but I'm giving it a mediocre pip.
Just a single pip.
Just
It's
a single
enough for
pip.
me to want to track down the Saturn version.
And thus begins Eric's quest.
God, Saturn. What a terrible console to collect for. It's so expensive. Which is why I'm buying shit in Japanese. Lunar 2 for PS1 is like $120 complete. This one, $20. Good luck reading it, Peterson. Look at some of the enemy. Like, just look up some images of Legend of Oasis. Game looks.
I've just been watching some footage of it.
That
Some
game looks
actual gameplay.
fantastic.
Like I said, it looks more of the same but prettier.
It kind of has a little bit of the Minish Cap art style.
Oh yeah, it's got very similar enemies.
Yeah,
And there's a G2 again.
perfect. Are you sure you're not looking up the wrong game?
No, I'm looking at the right one.
So anything else we want to share about Beyond Oasis?
No,
Um,
I'm happy we played it.
I would recommend it. Let's get this out of the way. are giving away a copy of Sega Genesis Collection. Actually, no, we need to save that for later because it's reliant on the questions. Never mind. Anyway, later in the show, we're going to give away a copy of Sega Genesis Classics. I always forget what it's called on PS4, Xbox One, or console of your choice.
Sega Genesis Jamboree.
It's called the Ultimate Collection on 360.
Twisted Leg.
Well, yeah, but that's not the one we're... You're thinking of
Sonic Twisted Leg.
You're thinking of Sonic Genesis Collection is what I played it on for PS3.
Broken ankle.
Colon, the hedge pig.
Are we moving on to questions? Is that what you said?
No, I wanted to ask you, did either of you guys pick up the Shenmue remake?
No.
No, I've been playing Dead Cells.
Been seeing mixed reviews about the Shenmue remaster.
I imagine it hasn't aged well.
I was just curious to see if anybody had picked it up, because I just recently bought Shenmue 2 for Dreamcast and was going to play through that.
I certainly think it's one we should play.
How long is it?
Well, now that there's a remaster, that's going to be much easier.
Yeah. I've always wanted to play it, but it's quite difficult to get.
Unless you got a Sega Dreamcast.
Ooh, it's over 20 hours long. That's quite a commitment.
We've done longer games.
Yeah, it'd have to be over a couple shows. But I was just curious to see. It's one of those games that I don't have any nostalgic connection to, so it wasn't really high on my list of remakes to get.
I know not like next to nothing about it apart from that it's like a cult classic. That's it. Strange.
It has Shenmue 1 and 2 in it, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I'll have to give it a shot. I mean, it's...
But if I just want to mention quickly before we go into the questions and things. I bought Dead Cells this week, and I think that's going to be one of my games of the year. Because
I think all your games of the year this year are going to be 16-bit side-scrollers.
They're just so good at the moment. It's insane. Like Celeste started it all off, and then Hollow Knight is absolutely superb, and Dead Cells is just great as well.
It's going to be tough to narrow it down to
fantastic.
top 10 this year.
I know I've got Spider-Man, God of War, and what else? Red Dead is coming out. New
Guys,
Assassin's Creed looks
we got a
pretty good.
lot of questions to get through. So if you want to find us and participate in our community, we are on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Factory Sealed Podcast. Come join the entertainment. Mike posted our weekly announcement, and then I posted something about our giveaway. So we've got quite a few questions to get through. John Fazio, who would win in a fight, Snake from Metal Gear or Barney Rubble?
Oh, you always do well with the questions, guys. Probably Snake, I imagine.
I'm gonna go with Barney Rubble because sometimes the idiot just prevails. Like he would drag Snake down to his level and beat him with experience.
Yeah, I guess he would. Piss flinger Zach Fawley.
Hold on,
would like to know...
Mike wanted us to. Okay, there he is. He said BRB.
Hi, I'm back.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm back.
Mike, who would win in a fight, Snake from Metal Gear or Barney Rubble?
Snake. I mean, Barney Rubble will put up a tough fight because if this is over who gets Betty Rubble, I mean, she is one tasty dish.
As long as she doesn't get period on it.
Maybe we should leave that joke behind.
Let's not make that a
I
joke.
think so. I don't endorse this joke.
Yeah, you've brought it up twice since.
Yeah.
Don't know what I
So
was
Mike
thinking.
realizes how bad it is.
I was excited to be back on the show. I've missed a couple. Sorry.
Just the filter didn't get installed.
So I was about to say, before I was rudely interrupted, Piss flinger Zach Fawley would like to know, have any of you played Legend of Oasis? We've already talked about this, Zach. Very sorry.
No, we've not, but I want to. Yeah. Chad
Mr.
Hager.
Chad Hager. You go.
Hager.
Pegor.
Go, read it. Use your
Seeing
mouth
as you
and
are
make
playing
words.
Seeing as you are playing a Genesis, a Mega Drive if you must game, what is your favorite Genesis game that is not Sonic related?
See, that's tough because
Mutant League
is
Football. Hands down.
Streets of Rage 2.
Ooh, see, I was struggling for this because we had a Mega Drive as a kid, didn't have many games, and I rented most of the stuff that I played. And I couldn't think of anything outside of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is my favorite Mega Drive game. And if it's not your favorite Mega Drive game, what are you doing? And the
Playing
only
better
thing I could
games.
think of, the only thing I could think of, and I've not gone back to play it as an adult, so it could be absolute dog shit. And I was looking through it as the eyes of a child who absolutely loves the franchise, but I remember absolutely loving the Ghostbusters game on the Mega Drive.
I remember that being pretty good.
Yeah, and I've not played it. I'd like to play it for the show sometime to revisit it.
Wow,
But
I didn't know that.
yeah,
It wasn't.
but I used to rent. It was the game I used to rent the most, and it wasn't. I used to sometimes went to the store where we used to rent them from, and if I was like, oh, I really want to rent Ghostbusters again, and went in there, and if it wasn't there, I was so sad.
See, what else would be up there for me is Revenge of Shinobi. I love that game.
But going back to what you said, maybe Streets of Rage is up, actually me. Streets of Rage 2 specifically.
Streets of Rage 2 is superb.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's that.
yeah,
Next.
that's that.
Ralph Caffrey.
Simply said, the story of thoughts.
Thoughts.
Then actually to the question.
Did they have Sega Channel in the UK? Did you have it, Eric? What's your favorite Sega Channel memory? Mine is getting Sonic and Knuckles on there finally, and then not turning my friend's Genesis off for days. Also, Mean Bean Machine, even though he always beat me. I don't know what the hell Sega Channel is.
Yeah, me neither.
It was like a primitive streaming service.
Sega Channel is an online game service developed by Genesis or by Sega for the Video Genesis console, serving as a content delivery system. Launching in '94, provided to the public by TCI and Time Warner through cable television services by way of coax. Oh, this is what they used to do in hotels.
Oh,
It was
really?
a pay-to-play service through which customers could access Genesis games online, play demos, and get cheat codes, lasting until '98. Operated 3 years after the release as Sega's next console, the Saturn. Poor launch time, high subscription. It was praised for its innovation in downloadable content. So when we used to go to hotels as a kid, there'd always be a generic video game controller by the TV. And there's always Blackthorn. That's the one game I always remember being on there. So that must have been the Sega Channel. Interesting.
I know nothing about it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I'd never heard of it until now.
So it would hold 50 games at any one time. Titles would rotate monthly. However, some updates happened on a weekly basis. In '97, it switched it to 70 and updated frequency to bi-weekly. Games like Sonic and Knuckles, Eternal Champions, Space Harrier 2, Bubsy 2, and Aladdin, Super Street Fighter, Mega Man Wily Wars. Ooh, you had me at Mega
Who?
Man. Man Mega, the Dick Wars.
The Willy was.
That's really cool. I never knew about that. So you had to get this little adapter.
Adaptor.
So how would you would you just plug a Genesis controller into it?
Beats me.
What a neat little service.
Hmm.
Way to go, Sega.
Very ahead of its
Sega
time.
does what Nintendo don't. Is that how it goes?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It won Popular Science's Best of What's New award for year 1994.
Huh.
Yeah, it's very ahead of its time, that is.
Let's see. Dalton
Santos Lopez.
Oh yeah.
Will you be revisiting the Walmart next year that Zach established his dominance in? I'm not sure if he was dominant.
Depends if there's pictures of Zach on the wall as you enter.
Yeah, they've got security footage. This man flings piss.
Have you seen this man last seen side saddling a toilet?
No, we won't be going back there. We only went to Walmart because we had to buy a keyboard because I didn't have a way to pair my controllers to the RetroPie, so we had to go buy a keyboard. Dalton Sutor. What?
Did it not just because? No, at RetroPie you bought me, and you bought me the 8BitDo controllers. I used one of those before I bought more Joy-Cons. I used that 8BitDo controller on my Switch, which unsynced it from RetroPie, and I couldn't get it to sync back up to it. So all I've done, because I can't be asked to put a keyboard in it now, is I just play with them with a cable.
Just put a keyboard in and press F4.
You press F4.
Anyway.
Go on, press it. Press it. Go on.
I'm pressing it right now, and it feels great.
All right. Okay.
Dalton Sutor, how many zombies would Rob Zombie rob if Rob Zombie could rob zombies? 2.
3.5.
18,000.
Good job, Chad Schaefer. What was the first game you bought with your hard-earned money as a kid? This is not including money from holidays. Mine was Illusion of Gaia.
Tower of Bagel.
Not including money from holidays, so not gift money.
Yeah, money that you earned.
Ooh.
I don't even know. I didn't have a job until I was like 21.
I'm not sure.
Like, didn't you get an allowance for doing chores and stuff like that?
Yeah, you used to get pocket money and stuff.
No, I didn't.
Your parents just bought you. That's the joy of being an only child. Spoiled to all high hell.
No, they didn't spoil me that much, no. I just kind of had to live with what I had.
Daniel!
I think it might have been Resident Evil 2. For me.
It took you that long in your life to save up money to buy a game?
Say that again, sorry?
It took you that long in life to save up money to buy a game?
No, like not including holiday money, because... excuse me. No, because obviously I used to get birthday money and holiday money, but I used to just get bought games as well, and like I said, I used to rent a lot, but when I was younger, during the summer holidays and stuff, I used to go to work with my dad, and I used to get money from that. And I think the first thing I would have bought with the money from that wasn't holiday money. That's the only thing I can think of. And what a game, people!
I
what a game!
I honestly don't know.
Dan still hasn't bought a game with his own money.
Just PS Plus games.
Even his Switch games, PS Plus.
Funnies. Jeremy Sanford would like to know, if Sega were to enter the console market again, what would you call their new console?
Oh, well, this is off of the next list.
Yeah. The Sega Disappointment.
Well, I think going with biblical names, I'm going to go with the Sega Exodus because it would definitely be their last console.
I'm going to call it the Sega Nice the Hedgepig.
The Sega Leviticus.
Sega PissEyes.
The Sega with loads of R's.
The Sega Entertainment System.
The Sega Station 3.
The Sega Deuteronomy.
The Sega Swan.
The Sega Gyratory Express.
The Sega Final Chapter Prologue X Clunge.
Birth by Sleep.
The Sega Pelvic Thrust.
The Sega... Oh, yeah.
The Sega Dickhole.
The Sega Nintendo.
The Sega, we sold all our franchises. I think we should move on.
The Sega Segor.
This could go on for a while.
Dan C. Gilbert would like to know, who would die first in a horror film made with the cast of Factory Sealed?
I think Dan, because he'd refuse to run.
Yeah. I don't do horror, guys.
Can
Well,
I
stabby,
play
stab,
the
stab.
horror on Eevee?
Or we'd be escaping. Quick, Dan, get on the train. Nope, not going on the train.
Is it going to London? Because if it is, I sure as hell ain't going.
That does sound like a horror film.
They had to drag him kicking and screaming onto his first class seat to come down to London. It's like, sir, you bought this ticket. I don't want to go.
See, ironically, I think I would be the last one to survive because I think that Alka-Seltzer you give me would finally kick in and I would overpower the monster.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah. It's the plan all along.
I still think Dan would be the first to die.
Thanks, guys.
Mainly because we'd throw him back to the monster or the killer or something. Be like, there, eat him!
But
He's Geordie, he tastes bad.
I've got that northeastern aggression in me, you see, so...
If you want to extend it to the factory sealed cinematic universe, which includes guests, Zach, because he'd probably be on the toilet and something had come under the key.
Yeah, but he'd kick
and get him
soak shit rags into the guy's eye. Like, hey, fuck off!
So it depends if the monster is in fact Tyrone coming to try to hunt Zach.
He's like the blind guy for the blind boss from Demon Souls. He just hones in on where people are.
No, he's like that monster of Pan's Labyrinth with like the hands on the eyes, but he's doing it to cover the. He's doing it to stop the piss from leaking out. That's what he's doing.
He's wearing a diaper around his head. Let's move on. Taylor Favor? If it ends in an ER, it's an OR sound. Should Sega do another installment of Streets of Rage, a modern reboot, or leave them as they are?
Yes.
Sega should do what
Mike,
they did
it can't
with
be all three.
Shut up, I'm talking. Sega should do what they did with Sonic Mania and have another Streets of Rage like that.
And let the fans
also known as Streets of Rage Remake, which got pulled.
I
still have.
Oh yeah, you played that, didn't you?
I did. It's amazing. It was on my Games of the Year list.
Sinner.
Twas.
Nolan Detman.
You've missed out Shannon McIntosh.
Sorry, Shannon McIntosh. What are some Genesis games from this era that everyone seems to love that you just can't get on board with? I know people love Toe Jam and Earl, but I was bored by it.
See, if he's talking about Toe Jam and Earl 1, I agree. I don't
Toe Jam and Earl.
I don't get it. Between 1 and 2, they're two very vastly different games. So 1 is almost like a top-down kind of thing. It's kind of top-down, but kind of not. But kind of isometric, but kind of not. And you wander around on this world, like this world map. And it's very strange and very weird. And the second one's like a 2D platformer. And yeah, I don't get the first one. I just don't get it at all.
See, I can't get on with Contra because it's just so difficult.
Ben and I played through the original Contra on the RetroPie, but only due to the Konami code. And even then, we were still barely able to finish it.
You don't really get on with Sonic that much, do you?
No, I was going to say Sonic, but I think even more so Streets of Rage. I just don't like beat 'em ups.
I love it.
I don't like them.
It has to be the right beat 'em up for me. Like, I'm not into all of them. In fact, when I looking through the games that are already on my Vita to emulate the other day, I revisited the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie beat 'em up that's on the Mega Drive.
Oh my god,
That
so
thing's
good.
so fucking cool. I love it. It's really going back to it. It's really basic, but yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about that game, Mike. I got that for my birthday. My birthday is the day after Christmas, right? And I got it for my birthday and beat it within an hour. It was amazing.
so
Me and my
easy.
friend played it all like over and over again.
That was fun to play.
It had like a secret optional super boss as well and everything.
Oh, Lord Zed with his hand.
Yes, it was so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and you got to be the Zords and everything. Such a good.
Did you ever play the first Power Rangers game on the Mega Drive? The one that's
I
like
went back and tried it, and it's really
one-on-one beat 'em up.
Yeah.
I used to really like that. I might revisit that's on my Vita, so I might have a little look.
Nolan Detman.
Nolan Detman.
What are the top 3 Sega games that deserve a reboot or remaster?
Well, one of them that I was going to recommend technically already got one in the form of a different IP, but I really like the Mutant League series, both the football and the hockey. But they did a PS4 game called Mutant Football League, mainly because they didn't own the rights to Mutant League Football anymore. And it's great. Everything I wanted it to be.
Well, we've got Sonic Mania, so that's Sonic out the window. I would still say Streets of Rage.
Yeah, easy.
Gunstar Heroes is absolute shit.
What about what about Aladdin?
Oh yeah, that'd be so
Aladdin
good.
or Lion King.
Yeah. Well, not so
Like
much
a,
Lion King,
like a
but
Disney collection. That would be awesome.
I like
That would be so good.
the Shinobi games.
Oh, Shinobi, definitely. Echo.
This
Road
already
Rash.
has. Oh, Road Rash, yeah, that'd be cool.
There is a game coming out which is kind of a spiritual sequel, I think.
Is it called Rash Road?
Yes.
Where it's just, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to take the high road because I was going to start talking about crotches and some gross stuff, but I'm going to withhold.
How about Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure?
Marco's Magic Football.
Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
That was in Sonic Mania. Don't worry about it.
This has already had a remaster on the. Well, it's not a remaster. It was a reboot. Or maybe it was a sequel. It was a sequel with updated graphics. Anyway, on PS3 there is a Rocket Knight Adventure game, but it wasn't that great. So
No, it was pants.
yeah, so a decent one of them for me.
How about Ristar?
No, I
Oh
didn't like
yeah,
Ristar was great.
have you done that on the show?
this. Oh, Golden Axe.
There's been a lot of
yeah.
Golden Axes since then, though.
But a good one.
So with that, like, I started playing a dungeon crawler the other day. I think I sent you guys a message about it, Sacred 3, and it kind of makes me miss actual true dungeon crawlers. I know Diablo, yeah, whatever, but like there was an era where dungeon crawlers were huge. You know, we had the Champions games,
Oh, yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons Heroes, and then the Sacred games, and just all that's died. We don't have a solid, really good, true, genuine dungeon crawler anymore. I miss those games. We really need to do Champions of Norath, Return to Arms, or
Yeah. If only we
Baldur's
could
Gate.
play it together.
Oh, I know. There's got to be a way we could do it. I know you and I at one point had tried hooking up the PS2s to see if the networks were still up, but they're not.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Miles per hour. How many coins would Sonic need to collect to kill Dr. Bowser?
3.5.
2.
18,000.
Andrew Thorson. What is your all-time favorite game on the Genesis? Includes 32X and CD, and what is your opinion is the worst game on the console?
Sonic 3 and Knuckles for
Yeah,
favorite.
me too.
That's my worst. No, I'm just kidding.
Rolo to the rescue.
I would say the Home Alone game.
Oh yeah, that is shit.
Possibly Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
No, that's Ace.
No, see, I think we got to expand this out into the CD and 32X. So how about Sewer Shark?
I'm not familiar.
Holy shit, that game's bad.
I don't like Knuckles Chaotix.
Oh,
Mike.
fucking Night Trap.
Oh, God.
No way, that game is great. Dude, Sewer Shark makes Night Trap look like a perfect 10.
Makes Backdoor Sluts look like Backdoor Sluts 9.
More like 8, but I'll give it to you. I have fond memories of Sewer Shark, though, because when I was growing up, I had a buddy that had the Sega CD, and that's all he had was Sewer Shark, so I'd go over there.
I know. Altered Beast. It's rubbish.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't understand the fanfare that game gets.
It's so bad.
Welcome to your doom.
It's shit, man.
Yeah, it's not so good, Al.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at a picture of that. We played that together, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, we tried to do some of it. How about Lethal Enforcers? Jesus, that game was bad. It was one of the light gun games, I believe.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. Just scrolling through here really quick to see if anything. Sonic 3D Blast was pretty shit.
I liked it.
Shaq Fu! Did you guys ever play Shaq Fu?
No, but they've redone it recently.
Yeah. Oh, terrible. I would say my favorite still would be Mutant League Football. That's my favorite Genesis game. Just because I have so many fond memories of playing so much of that.
What do you want he's played?
Shh, I've played Sonic 2 and it's crap.
Disappoint me.
Mark Marcheshi. I'm an oddity who played his first RPG on the Genesis. Actually, it's a tactical RPG as well, Shining Force 2. Curiously, what was your first RPG?
I think mine's same as Dan's.
Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
Mine was the first Final Fantasy. Didn't know what the hell I was doing, but...
I think a lot of people, it was Final Fantasy VII, wasn't it?
My first true RPG where I understood what I was doing and could comprehend it was 7, yeah. Let's see. Holy shit. Sarah Irvine.
You missed out Russell Schaefer's.
How are you
Russell
missing
Schaefer.
people?
I'm so anxious for Sarah's question. Do you prefer the sound chip of the Genesis to that of the SNES or vice versa?
Ooh, that's a tough one because it does depend on the game.
Yeah.
So I just have very fond memories of Genesis music, so I'm going to say Genesis.
Me too.
Like I still think the soundtrack to Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 is up there as the best ever.
I think as a whole, though, I think the Super Nintendo wins out. Yeah, the Genesis had some stuff that was really good, and they had some really great composers on it, but like across the board, music-wise, I think the Super Nintendo just has more iconic music.
I always remember the Genesis having when it used actual sound samples. So if it had voices. So for example, I played Power Rangers movie the other day. When you choose your character, you actually hear them, say like Pterodactyl or Tigerzord or whatever. And I always remember.
Admittedly, it sounds like it's through a tin can. But...
Exactly, but I remember it still being compared to the SNES. Yeah, I remember it being better.
I've heard it described for the Genesis as like a twang that's to certain sounds of it, and that's kind of like what's endearing to a lot of people. I don't know the specifics behind what the sound chip is and all of that, so I'm not even going to pretend to know the technicalities of it, but I'm more fond of the Super Nintendo mainly because I just grew up with it.
Yeah, nostalgia does that to you, doesn't it?
It's a bitch. You guys ready for this one?
It's interesting that me and Dan both said the Mega Drive, and that's what me and him grew up with.
Yep. Nostalgia is strong.
Sarah Irvine. Would you rather have a finger for a tongue or tongues for fingers?
Finger for a tongue, because if you had tongues for fingers, you could taste everything you touch.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
No, because there's some dirty things around, man.
He'd also be dynamite in the bedroom, so I'm saying
it would give a whole new meaning to fingering. Her response is the correct answer is both. Could you imagine someone shredding on a Flying V guitar with tongue fingers and then their finger is hanging out of their mouth like Gene Simmons?
I think I've just thrown up a little bit in my mouth. But going back to what I said about things being dirty, guitar fretboards, man, they are not clean.
Yeah, but maybe you just become super neat. Well, how would you keep your tongue fingers lubricated?
How would you hold the guitar?
How would you keep them lubricated?
Oh god!
Do they have their own salivary glands?
You have spit glands in your tongue fingers. Why am I even saying this?
Yeah.
Well, which way would they be installed? That'd be a question, though. Like
installed.
Yeah, would like your tongue can generally curl up but not down. So would you have to have it so like the top of the tongue is technically the bottom of your finger? So like you could grab somebody and just like massage them with 10 tongues.
Oh yeah, you could.
Hand jobs would be infinitely better.
Now you're talking.
Making out with somebody who had a finger for a tongue would be disgusting.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, would it have a fingernail that you'd need to clip too?
Can we move on, please.
There's so many questions.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many questions. We need to move on.
Oh God. Rob Strom. If you could see a remastered version of any Genesis game, what would it be? For me, I think X-Men Clone Wars or something. Didn't we just answer that?
Yeah, someone else answered it, but he brought up X-Men Clone Wars, which is an awesome game. Mega Drive.
Sean McIntosh. Related to Shannon McIntosh. What's a Genesis game that you enjoyed as a youngin' but doesn't quite hold up today? Every Sonic game.
How dare you?
I'm trying to think what I've played
Earthworm
recently.
Jim.
No, that game is still amazing.
It is, but it
Probably one of the what the call.
Oh shit! Wait, hang on, wait. The question earlier on: favorite Mega Drive game outside of Sonic? Fuck Jim. Sorry.
What?
I said the question earlier on: favorite Mega Drive game outside of Sonic? Fucking Earthworm Jim, of course. I love that game.
There you go.
Sorry, carry on. I
That
got
was the
excited.
game you picked when you were first on, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, I got
You
excited.
forgot about it.
Must not have been that important.
I would say like Desert Strike.
Oh, yeah. I loved those games. Urban Strike, Desert Strike.
Yeah.
Was there a third one?
Space
remember.
Strike.
What?
Underwater Strike.
Moon Strike.
This game's already been brought up, but
Head Strike.
It's Sega fucking Sonic 3D Blast, because I remember absolutely loving that. And then as an adult, I'm like, actually, no, this is fucking
It's a
terrible.
hot pile.
Why did I like this?
Yeah.
Stupid kid.
Young Mike was dumb.
Yeah, he certainly was. That's why I'm worried about that Ghostbusters.
Dalton has another question. Have you guys ever played Comic Zone? If not, highly recommend it. Pretty fun side-scroller beat 'em up like X-Men games.
Funnily enough, I actually tried this on my Genesis collection earlier this week, and it is the hardest game ever.
It's really cool, though, how you kind of flip between the different comic books, cells.
Yeah, it's really cool, but it's such a shame that it's so difficult because
Yeah.
it really is. Like you get one life, and you lose health by punching items out of your way, which you have to do. It's just stupid. It's good. It's real good though, but if you honestly, you probably have to save state all the time to get through it. I got up to level 2, and that was with save states, and I still struggled.
I'm going to intentionally do an Eric and skip forward a question, because Jonathan Yazovich says, do you be remake of Comic Zone in RPG/action for current consoles? And if so, how well do you think it would hold up?
I think if they redid it in like a modern, not anime style, but interactive novel style, I think it'd be really cool.
Oh, it would. Definitely, like a good indie developer could ace that.
It's a great idea. The actual the idea of the entire game, going through the comic frames, because you go up and down through them as well, don't you?
Yeah.
And everything in the text bubbles. Really, really neat idea.
Yeah. James Hall. Have you guys heard of the Sega Ages collection that are coming to the Nintendo Switch soon? I've heard about
Yes,
them.
I have.
No idea what they are.
They're just basically remasters of the games, but they've added some of them have apparently got enhancements, which are like exclusive to the Sega Ages collection. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but yeah.
Challenge modes, Mega Play mode, which is tweaked, more difficult version used in Japan arcades.
I like that they called it Sega Ages, because ages backwards.
Yes, there's actually a sign in Sonic Mania which says Club Spin Age, because that's from Sega.
Sega.
I didn't notice that till you just pointed it out. So
I'm surprised you even played that game, to be honest.
what game?
Sonic Mania.
No, he's on about that Ages is Sega backwards.
Yeah.
Oh.
I played the hell out of Sonic Mania. Zach Foley, last question. When can we expect the FS team to go back and play the Immortal on Genesis? Mostly so I can hear all the suffering and tears. That game's hard. We tried to cover it years ago and got nowhere.
I don't know anything about it.
It's really difficult.
The name rings a bell, but I'm just looking.
God, that looks terrible.
Oh no, I'm not familiar with this at all.
What is this?
What?
Oh, dear Lord.
We do have a couple emails. One of them I missed from last week.
What?
Yeah.
Hooray! I like when we get emails. Send us more.
Factory sealed at manatank.com. J.H. was recommending a Wii game for Tom, Dakapon Kingdom. It's like Mario Party with RPG elements. It's the best Mario Party on the Wii.
Would have been nice if you'd read it on the show that Tom was on.
I know.
I'm honestly convinced we get hundreds of emails and he just doesn't notice.
We do. They're just not questions. John Fazio, gentlemen. This is in relation to the Bioshock story. Gentlemen, when I was younger, I remember being completely floored by the graphics and scope of Mario 64. I remember just letting him sit there and watching him fall asleep and thinking to myself how amazing the graphics were. The next time that happened to me is when I first played Bioshock after the opening cinematic. When you're floating in the ocean, I remember sitting for a good 30 seconds, not even realizing it had transferred from cinematic to gameplay, and it was my time to move the character. It was the last time I was very impressed with the game on that level. So with that being said, my question is this. Do you have any similar stories to mine? Could be any game.
I remember being floored, as a recent example, I remember being floored at how amazing Metal Gear Solid 5 looked once you got into the open world and you saw the sun shining off the desert sand. I couldn't believe it.
Horizon Zero Dawn for me as well.
Wow, yeah.
I haven't had any moments like that in modern games, but Bioshock
Oblivion?
for sure is one. Oh, Oblivion, when you come out of that sewer and you're like, I can go anywhere.
Yeah. Going further back, and I mentioned this when we did it for the show, but having never played an RPG or a Final Fantasy game before, when you first get out of Midgar and realize there's an entire world to explore, Final Fantasy 7, I was floored. Absolutely floored.
Yeah. I was pretty floored by
the world?
Final Fantasy 15, actually. With the scope of that world.
Yeah. All right, so... What?
I was going to say, but that bit in 7, that's a proper gaming memory for me. Really is.
And God of War recently with whether you first have the fight against Boulder. Oh my God, that was so cool. Spoilers.
But that's at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
I know, but it's so cool.
But yeah, that is amazing. I heard someone online describe it as, even though they're not superheroes, it's the best superhero fight in video game. It's just a great way to describe it.
It amazes me, that we don't have more superhero video games. You'd think they go hand in hand, but no.
Most of the superhero video games are trash.
Yeah, you just press square, I hear.
Yeah, those Batman games are junk.
Hey, Spider-Man's coming out.
I know, Spider-Man's at least
It is
cool.
coming out, and apparently Squeenix is working on an Avengers game, so...
Ooh. Okay, guys, everyone who submitted a question, and if you are a Patreon supporter, which if you want to support us, patreon.com/factorysealed, a single $1 do will get you access to our Factory Sealed Unwrapped, which is a shit show of a show before the show.
Especially today.
If you want to find out why Tom Reagan has a doctor's signature stamped on his backside, this is why you should get it.
If you want to hear about the three of us all having prostate exams.
Not at the same time.
Not at the same time, but...
Well, Eric's wife was there.
That was weird.
Yeah.
She was not the one administering the exam. It's just... It's bad.
Go buy the Unwrapped and find out.
There is zero prep to this show.
Where can they find this Patreon, Eric?
Well, if you were listening, I already said it. Patreon.com/factorysealed. And it gives you an additional entry into all the giveaways that we have done, should do, will do. This week, we're giving away one copy. Yeah, I know, only one copy of the Sega Genesis Classic. What the fuck is it called on this console?
Fucking Sega Jamboree, Twisted Leg.
X Final Chapter Prologue.
I gotta find out what it's called. So
The electric boogaloo.
it's just that sounds racist.
No.
Yeah,
Does that sound racist?
I don't know.
Alright.
Shut up.
The Bugaloo. I'm pretty sure that's a bad. Okay, let's see.
I mean, I don't think it is, but if it is, apologies.
No, it's not. It's a TV series from the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it's called the Sega Genesis Collection is all it's called. We're giving away one. What?
Just after all that, it's just called that. After all that confusion.
Well, the one on PS3 is Sonic.
The collection of Sega Genesis games is called the Sega Genesis.
Sorry, I just had to be sure.
I'm sorry. Anyway,
Don't knock me for my thoroughness, Mike.
as you were.
Now then,
Now then,
we're giving away one copy to anyone who submitted a question, and then if you are a Patreon supporter, you get an additional entry. Since this
A lot
is
of
Tom's
questions
job,
this week. I liked it.
yeah. Since this is Tom's job and he's not here, I had to assume the duties. We had a total of 38 entries for this.
woo!
I have plugged everything into the random generator, and I have a winner.
Drum roll, please.
Those are my drums.
Beautiful.
The
Was that
winner
when
is... What?
I was gonna say, get your Donkey Kongers out.
Like a donkey playing the drums?
No,
Is that
Donkey Konga, the drum peripheral for Donkey Konga
Is that like
on
a
the GameCube.
euphemism for getting boobs out, or what?
It's a U2 even video game.
Get your Donkey Kongers out.
Oh, God, that sounds sick. No wonder Crystal's left.
You make it sound like she's left it good.
Crystal,
I didn't want to
come
say
and get your
anything.
Donkey
Thanks, guys.
Kongers out.
Who's the winner, Eric?
Russell Schaefer's.
Hooray!
Contact me and let me know what console you would like it on and your address, and I will send it to you.
Excellent.
Guys,
You might
that's
visit-
it for
might
this
even
week.
visit you.
In 2 weeks, we are playing the original Spider-Man.
For PS1.
PS1, not PS2. If you play the PS2 version, you will be booted from the show.
Excellent.
Mike, will you be here for that show?
I will. I will be missing the...
Okay.
Okay.
Get all the Mike Tyson that you can.
All right, gentlemen, this turned out to be a much longer show than I thought it would, considering that game
Me
had
too.
very little substance to it.
Full on pumpkin over here.
Yeah. I think we should let Dan get on to his evening of pumpkinness.
Yeah.
Good show, gentlemen. Any final thoughts?
Don't get period on your pumpkin.